Plat Chat Overwatch episode 140. And this time, it's the return of a legend.
Yeah. You know,
The
I
prophet.
have to sit back and just watch you guys just make these stupid takes while I'm over here.
I didn't even get to
Always
introduce
correct.
you, and you're just like, oh!
I don't need an introduction.
Start yelling
I don't
at
need an
everybody.
introduction. Everybody
Jesus.
knows.
Oh, wow. Well, all right. How's it going, Matt? How are you? What have you been up to? It's been so long.
Man, I'm good, man. What are we talking about? Are we talking about the UFC fight?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
fucking
fight,
head kick?
yeah, crazy. That
It's a
fight
Plat
was
Chat
actually-
UFC now.
Yeah, it's got me. I want to go fight people. I mean, I wouldn't be
You
able
would
to
do
do that,
great in a
but
fight, Matt. I think you should.
I'd
I
be
think you should
totally
pick up
down.
UFC. I think you'd do great.
Scott, if I got into fighting, would you? If I could get it passed, would you fight me?
Yeah,
Like, let's say like
if
our
you could-
grand finals,
Yeah.
they roll out a fucking cage in between the losers in the grand finals, and me and you just duke
I'll
it out for a
fight you.
bit.
I'll fight you. We'll put on some
Oh.
pads. We'll get our helmets on and we'll fight. Honestly,
I go
if
for
you
that
can
high
get
leg
if you
kick
can
and
get
I
it
would
cleared,
just-
I'm in.
I would just tear like my quad like instantly. I think just by raising my leg that high and just fall down. It'd be terrible.
When we
We're
introduce
fighting
you
for-
to the ring, Matt, what kind of fighting style are you known for? Are you more like a karate, kickboxing, wrestler?
I think I would be much more of like a no defense zombie, just walking forward, just taking hits and just swinging until I eventually
Zug
no.
zug.
Okay. I haven't heard about that one in the UFC. But it's
Yeah, nobody's been using that one.
okay, all right, fair enough.
It's a new style. It's up and coming.
It's a new style. We'll talk to Sean about
Jack.
it. We'll pitch it.
Huh?
You know, we live in California, right? I mean, I don't go outside, and I got a little bit of tan. What's going on over there, bud?
Oh, dude, I got nothing going on. I got absolutely fucking nothing. Pale
Looks
as
like
a
you're,
ghost.
Yeah, I was gonna say like trying out for that new live actions like Addams Family show on Netflix, trying to be like
Yeah, dude, I was
you just
trying
gotta
to be
throw
the son
like
of the Addams family,
Yeah.
bro. Just look like an absolute fucking zombie.
I'm gonna
Hey.
pick you up. We're gonna go eat outside one day, Jack.
Okay,
you that
might be
vitamin
great,
D.
actually, yeah, I do. Honestly, dude, I actually need some. I was thinking about buying the vitamin D supplement so I can actually get some fucking sunlight.
You gotta go
in my
outside.
veins, bro.
Even I do a walk.
Yo,
every once
Matt,
in a
are we
while.
going to talk about Overwatch today
Matt
at all?
is cooking.
No, we talk about let's do it. If Matt's on now, we talk about UFC and we talk about NBA 2K on the fucking PS4, bro. That's what we're
Somebody in the
talking
chat
about.
said they would pay to see me and Scott in cage match.
Honestly, we could do a money
that's
match
great
at this
content.
point. I'm in.
Yeah, what if we turn
Yeah.
the Overwatch League into the UFC? One candidate per team.
I would make a
That'd
bet
be
that
great.
both of you knock, like, not even each other out, just yourselves out before
So-
any fucking fist fights happening. You
I would
fucking
get to
stumbling,
first
gang, your
round
legs
and
spot,
be
you fucking
gassed.
trip over your own fucking hit the fucking face on the floor and Matt's
Yo,
just
hold on.
asleep
Somebody's
already.
caught on, Johnny. Somebody in the chat was like, "I like seeing Johnny and Matt's banter." Somebody's caught on that we actually like each other and we don't hate each other. We gotta quick say something mean and I'll just like make a weird face like I took it personal.
You're so fucking short, Matt.
Whoa.
Oh, Danos.
Oh,
Shit.
what the fuck?
Man, there's so much tension here in this channel.
No way.
So Overwatch, it's matches, right?
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah. There were some matches, Matt. Week 2 of the Summer Showdown qualifiers has passed us. But first, let's talk about the meta. Start with some good news, I suppose. I mean, if you're Custa, this is good news. Aaron Keller came out with a tweet this past weekend and acknowledged that JunkerQueen is really strong right now. Not to state they want for the game. They want it to be more diverse. They want map design to play into the meta and compositions and all that. So a good little sign that the devs are aware that the meta is very one-sided right now and they're working to fix it. So we don't have to freak out. We don't have to freak out anymore. We don't have to be worried that we're going to have a JunkerQueen meta.
I don't think many of us were freaking out.
Dude, I don't know, man. Have you been browsing stuff? People were freaked the fuck out.
I've
They were
gotten rid of the
There's
internet.
no third beta. We're gonna play
You
this
got
for
rid
months.
of the
It's
internet.
never
Never had the
ending.
internet. I'm going I'm going back. I'm gonna get rid of electricity. I'm gonna start living with like fucking candles and stuff. I'm getting rid of all electricity, all internet. I thought the best tweet though was did you see John Spector's when he was
Response to BP.
he's like
yeah.
no, that
was
like
so good.
that like they were gonna the change for JunkerQueen is that she was gonna be from like Ohio instead of Australia. Like that was like gonna be
Yeah, what the
oh, that shit killed me. Yeah, she's pretty strong.
Yeah,
Who
she's
would've
pretty
thought?
strong. Way too strong.
Yeah.
Well done. Now we can
Oh.
rejoice.
I do gotta say though, like, I think as a community, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
this is great. As a community, like, if when they release a hero and it's too weak, everybody complains that the hero is too weak. And then now when they release a hero, obviously too strong, the complaint is like too strong. So like I never think you're gonna get a perfect like a hero is going to release perfectly balanced as
Okay, no, I'm not gonna let you get away with that one. The problem with JunkerQueen is not that she's overpowered, is that she's overpowered in the fact that she makes you have to play Lucio Brig and this like 5-man star. The fact that they gave her an AoE 100 overhealth buff like ability, which also provides speed boost, that's the fundamental.
Might be a bit much.
Might be a little bit. Just
You'd rather
we need some people playing tank.
You'd rather, dude. True. You'd rather release a hero in like an OP state and then tune it down, right? I mean, dude, what other game does that? Well, only the biggest fucking games in the industry right now, like League, fucking Valorant. Like you make shit OP, and then everybody gets to fucking see it, and then you then tone it down. I think a lot of the kind of hate too. I will say, sorry, Johnny, just this last point, but like I think maybe it was perpetuated a little much, like. I think if people came in rather neutral, it wouldn't be as like hated as it is now.
I also think a part of it is that like the first part of the season we were blessed with like this like completely open, free flowing style of play where there were so many different things possible that like we haven't had like one of these in a bit in terms of meta. That I think it's like everybody's just on edge, where like I always had faith in the team that they were gonna like. Balance her, right? I mean, you see how strong she is. It's like you can't just be like, oh well, yeah, no.
Hey man, what I was gonna say is like the way they went about Sojourn was actually like almost like the perfect way. Like Sojourn at first was busted. They tuned her down, and I think more people than not were disappointed that we didn't see enough Sojourn at the start of the Overwatch League. And then they actually buffed her. Remember, like they widened like the railgun headshot thing or whatever. And then Sojourn found like a place in the meta now where she's a consistent pick, even like in the summer showdown or what.
You've also had the opposite happen in Overwatch too.
Sojourn was consistent.
Where like they release a hero and they're a little bit too weak, and then they try and make them stronger, and then they just make them like just giga insane, and then like now you're kind of like going back and forth, which I think the back and forth is not super healthy. I think for like the hero or the game. So yeah, I'm happy they're going to change some stuff.
I think one of the primary concerns with JunkerQueen was that like the health and speed, as Custa mentioned, like they're just like dangerous like elements to play around with when it comes to like releasing new heroes and stuff. And so I think like genuinely like we could have seen that ability toned down.
In non-pro play, she'd probably be fun as fuck.
She is like she was really fun to play with.
Yeah.
But like for me, the thing that I'm excited about is like the way that they've been balancing the beta. If they can keep that level of like balancing and just sort of messing with things, obviously we'll get to a more like neutral position. But like keep actively buffing and nerfing the things that seem to be problems. Like we're gravy. Like that's our biggest complaints about Overwatch 1 is we had no new content and the balancing was so slow. Like it felt like we only really got adjustments every 6 months. If they keep doing it every couple of months, that'll be really big for the game.
Yeah. It's like Matt said, I think people are just like a little bit extra on edge, because of like, this season and, the beta stuff, like everyone's waiting for a release. And like at the same time, like the developers are super busy, they're trying to ship this game and release this game. So at the same time, like they're actually like doing a pretty good job.
Turns
like,
out shipping a new game is pretty difficult.
Yeah. But I think considering like the situation we're in this season, I'm happy that they're at least going to take action to nerf JunkerQueen going.
I gotta ask real quick, and I don't want to throw us off topic. Is that a new chair behind you, Johnny? Like you get a new room? Where you at?
What?
Oh, this is Johnny's room for like ever.
Really?
Johnny's room, isn't it? Yeah, I thought.
What do you mean?
Been there.
Oh, I don't know. That chair,
This
your room
white
looks
chair?
so different. Yeah.
I got it. We got it like half a year ago.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But it's good catching up with you, Matt.
Yeah. Look, I'm a friend that pays attention and cares.
Yeah. Yep. Moving on. Thank you, Matt. Great stuff. Great stuff from you, Matt. Also, someone who's moving on is the Washington Justice. This past, they did trade Mag, Vigilante, Happy. I don't think we addressed this last week. We just like speculated, and then we didn't really speculate where they were going. We just like, oh, hey, these guys are getting dropped. We don't know where we're going, but it's happening. But now it actually happened. We know that Mag went to Boston Uprising, Vigilante went to Atlanta Reign, and Happy went to the LA Gladiators. which is, I mean, it's hilarious that Happy went to the LA Gladiators and then Gladiators go 0-4 and Washington beat Florida Mayhem. So that's amazing. What do we think? Is it over for the Washington Justice, or based on this like Florida Mayhem win, do we still believe that like they have a decent roster?
B team looked good. That B team, like obviously, like
B team is that?
Yeah, I'm calling
now?
them the B team. Okay, but they are like good players still. Like you got Opener Krill in the backline. They did well in the first couple stages of the season. Decay Assassin on a comfortable hero like Genji. And Kalios has always been talented, so like I think they look good. The fact that they were able to turn around those results, obviously it was just against the Florida Mayhem, right? Is you need to hold off a little bit
with the support thing they had going. So much ahead.
So but it's at least they didn't just like show up and not look like they care or that kind of stuff. They weren't like packing it in. They actually look very competitive, and I'm kind of curious to see where they're going to end up because like I've been very critical of the Washington Justice and everything they've done, but now I just kind of feel bad for them and everything that's happened. So I'm kind of like in their corner, hoping that they pop off.
Well, you can't blame the players. I mean, first of all, right? You can't blame the like individual players on this team for the situation they're in.
I do not think you can predict this team and what happens with them accurately at any point in time. Like the fact that like they go through all this turmoil and they lose like Mag, Vigilante, and Happy, and then they end up winning. like none of it makes any sense. But like Scott said, like the thing that you always knew about the Justice is like the players individually were talented. Like there wasn't anybody on that team that you were like, oh my god, like what are they doing? Like they always had like pretty good players to where
even
like
Opener, Australian contenders. Well,
yeah, he impressed me this year. Yeah.
Like that like they just haven't been able to put it together, and it's weird that like God, this is a horrible comparison, and I don't know why I won't even make it. But fuck it, why not? You remember season 1 London when like they had those issues and then they finally settled on 6 people and then like they started to play well?
Yeah.
Like you had like all these people on the roster and they were all talented and like they
oh yeah, they used to sub between like Bedosian and Hagapun and shit.
Yeah, and like like Birdring like didn't play for a bit and they got like other
Birdring,
people.
Rascal.
Yeah, and then eventually they just basically like sent half of them home and were like, "This is the group." And I think there's something I think you guys can probably speak to. Josh probably not as much since you never played on any teams. But
I open division. Come on now.
Open division. But like having somebody on a roster who's like always kind of like breathing down your neck or that competition, like you can definitely like sleep a little bit better and focus more when like your spot is solid, right? Or maybe that's a little bit like where they're at now, where they're kind of like everybody's comfortable. They know this is going to be it, and like there's going to be no changes, and just go out and do your thing, right?
They also can't bench Decay if the only other sub is Joe from marketing as well.
Yeah,
so it's like you're going to be fine. Like at least
Joe from marketing. Imagine Joe to start next week for the Justice. Here you go.
And that's it, right? Like Decay is always going to play. Like I think it could help them at least, like not in the long term, and they're not going to become a championship caliber team. I wouldn't assume, but like they honestly probably will do better than they have in the past if they're all just chilling. So.
I mean, it goes both ways, I think, because like so many times do we say that like, oh, they only have one tank player. Like he'd be so much better off if he had a second tank player to like compete and learn from. But I think it's certainly a more volatile situation when you only have 5 options, like out of 5 players, like you only have 1 option in this case because you have to fill these 5. Where it's like back is against the wall, like either Kalios pops off on JunkerQueen or you're fucked, and that kind of like back against the wall kind of thing. I think that in some way can help you focus and not second guess yourself as much as you say. Josh?
Like it probably does. I was going to say it probably does feel good on Matt's point, knowing that your place is you're not going to get subbed out randomly. And it reminds me of remember Hangzhou Spark? Was it last year or 2020 where they had a 12-man roster? I think, and half of
which
it was
time?
Korean, half I know. There's so many times. I'm trying to think which
12-man roster.
Yeah, but like it was half Korean, half Chinese. I think it was the one with Gods, to be honest. So probably
that was last year. Yeah, that was last year.
Or 20,
like Architect.
They had a takoyaki or something like that too.
Yeah, takoyaki. Yeah. And it was like they would like sub. It felt like they were just like subbing in random people every now and then and just mixing up the roster so much that every single week you went in and you were like, okay, who the fuck are they fielding this week? And then eventually they started trimming the roster down. And then it was like, oh, wait, we're actually finding success because the same people are in the fucking server week after week playing with the same people. Like, it's going to feel a lot
Isn't this what they
better
do
and
in
you're going to get more
basketball, Matt?
consistent results.
What, in basketball, don't they cut down on the roster come playoffs too?
Yeah, so like it's something that like teams do like in Owl, which like it's really weird. Like a lot of other esports, you don't see subs as frequently as like Owl. Which like
Are there any subs in like VCT and like Valorant?
no,
I think so.
To make
they
that
don't really
point.
do it
subs
either.
is effectively like your drop.
It's kind of amazing we have subs in the Overwatch League, I guess.
Yeah, and like dude, I can't imagine the amount of like issues it causes, not just like gameplay wise, but just kind of being in the same space and just kind of like confidence and just like mental issues. I think like the whole substitution thing is a little bit weird, but yeah, like in basketball, right? Like teams will probably play like, I don't know, like 10, 12 players in the regular season. But once like it actually gets to the games that matter, you're in like a 7-player rotation. Like half those people aren't even seeing those games. Like I get having subs, and like maybe that's just an evolution of like where like things need to go. It's like, hey, subs are good to like, hey, Decay, we're playing against bottom feeder team X, like take a break, right?
No one's ever gonna do that, right? Like that's the problem. Like I don't think substitutions and the idea of it are a thing that like a lot of people mess around with in the first couple of seasons. But even the Atlanta Reign and like Brad from the Atlanta Reign has come out and said like, we're only playing Hawk. He might not be the best in all situations on tank, but we would rather just have Hawk play everywhere because the consistency of that on your roster is better. And that has been shown throughout the test of time for all teams in the Overwatch League. Generally, the teams that stick to a pretty solid, consistent core win. The only exception to that, I would say, would be the 2020 San Francisco Shock. And that's because they had the best dive team and the best rush team.
This year's Gladiators too?
But even then, they like play with like a pretty solid core for a majority of that.
Yeah, and then it's
season,
right?
now and then
For pretty much the whole first half of the season, it was like Ons maybe played like a handful of maps, right?
Yeah, him and Space played like Circuit Royale. Skewed would come in for Circuit Royale. So yeah, I suppose.
I feel like they stopped bringing in Space though. Like I feel like they were just like, let Reiner play it. Like why not? Like
it's also the fact that like that's how Overwatch is supposed to be played in the situation where when we go to Circuit Royale, it is a completely different game. Like we're not playing anything like we usually do. We're playing Sigma Widow, which you don't play anywhere else. So it's like it makes sense to have substitutions in that situation. But almost every meta that we ever have in the Overwatch League, the same composition or a similar composition is played on like 95% of the maps.
Think about when remember when the Shock used to bring in like Smurf and like a whole new lineup for like Control. I feel like it was like the beginning of that season. They would drop like so many controls.
Yeah, they did that in the playoffs in 2020. Like they had Smurf Striker come in and play Control, and then they would go to other maps and they would sub in Super Arns or something like that, and they would play like Snipers or something like that. Like they had these different looks based on the maps. And I think it makes somewhat sense there, but not everyone can have Arn, Striker, Smurf, Super, you know?
Right.
We could do like a 3-hour podcast with like players and coaches and discuss subs. Because I don't think there's like an answer. Like I generally don't think like there's a perfect answer for it.
Before it was to cover hero pools, right? And like hard Widow and Ashe player like Arns is, and then you have your Tracer players and stuff like that. But I think now
gaps closed so much between those specialists and shit.
The gaps have closed, and there are a lot more like hyperflexes in the league, which can play pretty much everything. Like maybe apart from like the Widow, you know, Kevster, for example, can play fucking everything. Like Proper can play everything. There's like way more hyperflexes nowadays, and that's just, I think, down to the game's evolution and people playing the game for this long that you just kind of get very good at everything. Rather than
that'll happen in the tank roll too.
Yeah,
it's like as now we only have one tank. Like that'll happen in the tank roll. It's just too new, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, I would even argue that's why some of the teams went into this season with like double flex support, because they expected the support role as well to consolidate into like one flex support can play Lucio, can play Brig. I think a lot of teams made a mistake in, being very naive in that regard. But it's still like the way people think the game is moving is people becoming more flexible and being able to take on
Violet.
roles.
He's become a fine Lucio. Like, if you have the talent, I think you eventually figure it out.
Larsson
I
too.
think like if you have the talent and are given the opportunity to basically, how we were just talking about the justice, like, Violet, you're gonna be our Lucio. We're not gonna go sign one. We're not gonna take it out you out. So figure it the fuck out. Like, the guy is so talented. Like, just by playing like hundreds of hours of it, he's gonna get it right.
I think the ages of like having a person who's only really good at Lucio Brig Mercy is like disappearing. Like, if
You
you're
got
a
your
Lucio
money
Brig
when it was
Mercy
hot,
player,
Scott. Good job, buddy.
well, it's like they need to learn flexible. Like, we have main supports who can play flex support, and they are incredibly valuable, right? And in the same way, like there are some flex supports who are starting to learn Lucio, and like Sir Margette is doing it for the Florida Mayhem to success, I would say. But at least, like, that's
He's
the future of Overwatch too. Yeah, he's doing it. Like, he'll get there.
At least he's doing it.
It'll be interesting to follow the Washington Justice moving forward, but I want to discuss the 3 players that moved as well. So I'll pose this question and we can duke it out. Who out of these 3 players, Mag, Vigilante, and Happy, which individual one will we reflect on as like the best of the 3? Like, which one is going to be more rewarding for like the team? So like, is Mag to Boston going to be, at the end of the day, is that going to be like the trade we look at, like that was a really rewarding trade for Boston? Is Vigilante going to have a big impact on Atlanta Reign, or do we think that like Happy starting in LA Gladiators is like the poach of the year?
Happy for sure. Like, Happy, even when the Gladiators lost, Happy was not the problem. Like, he was definitely one of the more valuable players on that team. He's still getting picks. Vigilante will be interesting, and I think Mag, I don't love the Mag trade. I don't. I think it's going to cause more problems than it solves.
Does it have anything to do with Punk being Australian?
There could be some Australian bias going on there. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, no, I do tend to agree with you. I think Punk was pretty damn good on the JunkerQueen. Like, it's weird to now have Mag inserted into the roster. I think Vigilante. I think still having an additional support player, not a bad thing at all, especially if there's like a double flexible meta. And at the end of the day, Happy, how much do you see him getting perma playtime? I think Vigilante would probably get more playtime than Happy.
I actually think the Happy one is the biggest one. And not because of what, like, obviously because what he brings to the Gladiators, but also you have to imagine there were some other really good teams looking at Happy. So not letting Happy go to one of those really good teams is probably a benefit as well. Like, imagine if the fucking Dallas Fuel had Happy to play hit scan, right? Like, that starts to close the gap between them and a team like the Gladiators pretty quick. Or like, imagine if like the Shock had a player like Happy or something like that.
Dude, imagine
like,
if New York had Happy, bro. Yaki Happy frontline.
Okay, I mean, sure.
Is Flora the problem? I get what you're saying. It's it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade nonetheless. But
we do actually know that's an important thing. Where's Avast? Okay, he all of a sudden he doesn't show his face. He hypes up NYXL and he hypes up Yaki into the fucking orbit, and then he just refuses to show up after they have some of the most tragic performances we've seen recently. So
check that man PayPal.
Yeah, dude, Avast
what's going
is
out?
on the roster. I'm 99% sure he's on that roster and he's being paid side. He's got a side hustle going. Bullshit.
I love that. We'll rank New York Excelsior later on. You'll have your fun then.
Getting paid by Yaki to hype him up on an Overwatch podcast.
The top 3 Yaki thing. It's really ludicrous. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with it. I can't take this seriously.
It's undefendable.
I can't take this seriously because if I do, like, everyone will just come at me.
People fall in love with the highlights. Like, if you just watch the highlights, sure. But there's like 13 Dragon Blades that happened before that where it's like 1v4 and he just turbo sends it in. Like, he has like he in terms of like skill, he actually may be like one of the most skilled like flex DPS in the league. Just like in the actual games, like it's just a little bit inconsistent, I would say.
Sorry, I didn't want to derail with going back, throwing.
No, it's good. It's good. We need a rant.
Look, only I can derail because if everybody else starts derailing, we'll be here way too long. Me and Scott got some WoW to play.
I don't think we'll derail. We've had our fair share of fun. You probably missed that, but we had like a 15-minute conversation about Arnold putting himself in mud because of thermal reasons in some movie, Predator.
Have you seen Predator, the original, where Arnold Schwarzenegger puts mud all over himself and he becomes unseeable to thermal?
That's how it works.
No.
That's how that works.
You gotta watch that movie. I feel like that movie's right up your alley, Matt.
What does it have to do with this?
I can't remember actually.
Rants are okay on this podcast, Matt. Like, we've really gone the distance, you know. So don't worry about stepping off rail. Like, don't worry. The listeners are used to it. There you go. Look at him. He's invisible.
Did he just like do that to just like this could be like some kind of like fucking Call of Duty perk, right? Where if they got like thermal sights, you just get a perk where you're just laced in mud.
Didn't that perk exist in like Call of Duty 4?
Cold-blooded,
yeah.
Cold-blood, yeah.
You weren't covered in mud.
You just thermal or UAV.
You just had it, but the mud has a different effect though.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about what happened to the Gladiators then, because obviously we believe that that's going to be one of the most impactful trades. But reviewing LA Gladiators' performances this past week, in the past couple of weeks, they start off the Summer Showdown 0-4. They're pretty much out of it. Like, they're not absolutely out of qualifying yet for the stage playoffs, but they're essentially out. Like,
oh boy, no.
Pretty much, yeah. Go 0-4. So, well, you know, Happy's not going to any stage playoffs anytime soon, because I don't think there is one for Countdown Cup either, right? So
it's like plans.
Yeah. So Happy's not going to the stage playoffs this season.
He went to Kickoff Clash.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and then they lost to Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, they blew out in wondrous fashion, but yeah, he went.
That doesn't mean they didn't go.
That's true. I hope they enjoyed their Dallas trip. Is this a one-off or actual like systemic problems with the LA Gladiators?
This is a one-off.
It was like a one-off. Yeah. Just with the level of play that they've shown us before, winning tournaments.
If I'm the Gladiators,
just a one-off and a meta thing.
Yeah, you give like I think give Reiner just like a little bit of a break these next like 2 weeks. Like, you know, he gets a week off after. Be like, hey, take it easy. Like, you know, we need you for the end of the season, right? I don't know. Let a Shu play JunkerQueen or something. I have no idea.
JunkerQueen.
The Sugar Queen. Yeah, and just go again, right? They've been really good for the first part of the season. I think it's really difficult to keep that up, especially when you start to get in this like negative like rut that I think you're kind of in. And maybe it's just not the right meta, right? And that happens to teams. I just don't think you can let these like 4 games or 6 games like derail the overall kind of goal for the season, right? And I think they have too much talent for that to happen, quite frankly.
So what happened there then? Because going into this season, we're like, or this stage, we're like, skewed. Funny Astro is going to be the best backline in this meta, because obviously, like, Lucio Brig, and they have Kevser and picked up Happy as well. Like, what happened?
All right, let me throw in some copium for you. I don't think the Gladiators are as bad as everyone is saying they are. Like, they had a hard schedule in the fact that they played Dallas, Shock, Houston when they were playing well, and Toronto, who is looking like one of the stronger teams in this tournament right now. Like, I genuinely think, like, yes, this is not a good performance by Gladiators, and this is not excusing their losses, but like, people are saying that they're like 10th in this meta or something like that. Like, they're not that bad. They're just not as good as we've been accustomed to them being. And like, I agree, Johnny, that I think the backline was probably the most disappointing part of this stage for them. Like, they should be on their best heroes, yet for some reason they just couldn't string it together. Their ultimate usage was pretty poor. And then Reiner, you know, someone that a lot of people were saying was gonna, you know, be in contention for Rookie of the Year, or at least in the conversation, has just not adapted to JunkerQueen well at all in comparison to the level that we hold him to. So I don't know. It just, I agree with Matt. This is a one-off. GG, go next, reset your mental, and just like come back. They're going to make the playoffs. That's when it matters.
Yeah.
It's also like obviously a very different meta as well. Like, I think individually you look at Funny Astro, Lucio, and like Skewed Brig, and you're like, oh, well, they're amazing at that hero. But this meta plays so differently than like those roles would in any other meta, where you have Shu maybe like on an honor or something in the backline. Or even like when Skewed popped off last year when he played like double shield compositions. This time around, you're playing like a brawl composition, and it's going to like function differently. And so obviously that could have impacted their performance too, where it's like, you know, yeah, Shu is not in the lineup and you're playing with a new, like, Funny Astro and Skewed. Like, when have they ever fucking practiced before? You know, before this meta. And so the backline communication, you know, maybe like some tracking, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's a very different meta to grow accustomed to. So I'm not surprised that a couple of these teams are, you know, struggling to adapt perhaps from circumstances they're not accustomed to, and play styles that are different from what they will usually play in. So you mentioned, the Rookie of the Year award for Reiner here. Does this do you take this stage performance into consideration a lot when you assess stuff like MVP for Kevster and Chu and Rookie of the Year for Reiner? Like, does this now take a big toll considering we have teams like the Shock, for example, who are still popping off as per usual?
I think it depends on the Countdown Cup, right? If we go into Countdown Cup, the next tournament after this one, and they still perform like this, yeah, probably you'd be like, okay, fine. But I think everybody, well, I don't know about, well, Scott said yeah, but I don't know about you, Johnny, but like, it is a one-off. Like, there's no way the Gladiators, with the depth of roster they do have, like, don't bounce back in the next meta that we have. And if they don't, then yeah, maybe there is something fundamentally wrong with the team and underlying that we're not seeing or maybe not aware of. But I still think they're in line for that, to at least be in the conversation for MVP and Rookie of the Year if they do well in the Countdown Cup.
I disagree. I think this shit's over. I'm giving it. Proper's already my Rookie of the Year at this point.
Oh,
like it would.
I'm it would take.
I think for me, Proper would have to have a very tragic Countdown Cup, and because I don't know, do we vote on this before playoffs? I don't know how this is working with like the voting's usually before playoffs.
I'm pretty sure we do usually. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, so it's usually before playoffs. So like, I think Proper would have to have a tragic Countdown Cup to not win it. Because, the people that you would say are competing with him were a couple of players from the Gladiators and a couple of players from the Seoul Dynasty. And, like, I think with both of those ones, like, blowing out in pretty crazy fashion in different stages, I don't think you can make an argument that Proper isn't it, especially even when the Shock have been losing their matches. Proper has almost never been the issue.
The Shock could realistically go and, like, win this tournament.
Yeah.
Like, if they win this tournament, like, how can you realistically make the argument that somebody who potentially was on a team that didn't win a game in a tournament and the other team is like undefeated maybe for the whole regular season, second place in the midseason match, like you just, there's really like almost no argument at that point, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, it definitely hurts their chances of some of those accolades, like big time.
Yeah, I feel like Rookie of the Year was at least like a two-player conversation between Reiner and Proper, but there's still like MVP, and we'll see how that turns out. I think it's going to be very interesting towards the end of the season, because I think a lot of people will, have recency bias and like almost not forget, but they won't rate like Gladiators getting 2 stages back-to-back as much as maybe someone winning the Countdown Cup and looking really good at that point of voting. So it's going to be interesting. You have to keep in mind, of course, that Gladiators up till this point have looked incredible and like one of the best teams ever.
For awards real quick. I've seen some people online. Just people.
You said you weren't browsing social media.
Yeah, I thought the internet was dead to you.
What happened?
Shit gets back to me, Shit gets back to me. People arguing that if Proper won Rookie of the Year, he also couldn't be the MVP.
Custa.
Like,
I did bring this up. Yeah, no, I understand where they're coming from.
To be so stupid. The fact that, like, hey, you're the best player in the league and you're also in your first year, but like, we don't want to give you both awards because, well, we want to be nice to somebody else. Like, if he's the best player in the league and he also happens to be a rookie, he's both. Like I don't understand where this, like, well, he can't be both thing came from. I think it's just absolutely dumb. That if somebody deserves both awards, they should get both awards. Like, I don't know if it's that complicated.
I was someone who was curious about that kind of stuff, because I can see where they're coming from. Of like, if you win MVP, I feel like Rookie of the Year, it doesn't matter as much. But like, after talking to Johnny about it and others, like, I understand getting both at this point.
If Proper is the MVP, right? Like, is the Rookie of the Year award just like the runner-up of Rookie of the Year?
Yeah. Like give someone else a chance,
come on, like, it's just stupid. Like, if you are that good and you happen to be a rookie, you can win both. I don't know. I totally get that we want to like celebrate everybody, but also when somebody's that good, and I'm not even saying that like Proper is the answer for both of those, right? But like, let's say if he was, I don't think people should not vote for him based off of, well, he should only get one of them because it would be too much to give somebody that much accolades. I don't know. It's stupid.
I mean, yeah, the only argument would be like if under some circumstance you had like a different criteria for the different awards, but I don't see how the fuck that would work. So
How would
honestly,
you have a different criteria for the best rookie and the best player if the best player happens to be the best rookie?
maybe the rookie was
what
really good, but he
criteria?
wasn't valuable. I
Huh?
don't know.
How is someone
How's
good but
that
not
even
valuable?
make sense?
I was just saying, I
the
don't
best
see it.
rookie. He's not that valuable though. Nah.
I'm
He's just
saying,
kind of
I don't see
valuable.
it. Look, I'm not saying
Give him
this.
both
This is
awards
not.
now, bro.
I've been
Yeah,
saying,
no,
I've been
just give
saying
it to him.
both
You
awards
know,
for the longest
just
time. Oh my
overrule
God.
it.
Who gives a shit? Just give him a now.
When I was seeing people talk about that stuff, it was triggering me. I was like, I gotta go somewhere and talk about this. I was like, I'm gonna start talking about it during the broadcast. I'm gonna start talking about it everywhere. Like, vote for who deserves the award. Not
That's
like,
why we bring Matt on. Very, very strong opinions there.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Quickly,
Big time.
we're not going to address Toronto later on in the show. So just quickly, like Toronto, you mentioned, of course, that they played really well against the Gladiators. You consider them like a serious contender at this point for the stage, or do you
Even
think they're still
more.
like kind of middling and the Gladiators are kind of like adjacent to them?
I thought they looked really good. Like Toronto looked really good in that win over the Gladiators, and like
Toronto was sick.
yeah, like it was actually crazy how good that match was. But that said, I think the Shocker and the Fuel are on a different level right now. Like Defiant have not shown to me that they're going to be able to beat a Shocker or Dallas. Maybe they can, but I don't know.
They are solid third. Like they couldn't be more third place right now, which is sick for Toronto. Considering their previous performances.
They like when we say the talent is there, they're the most talent is their team we have in the league. I think.
No, really?
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, what Chorong and Twilight?
Chorong backline.
They have a great roster.
like I'm not saying like talent is there, like comparing them to the Gladiators, right? But like teams who like we think should be better. Also, it's like really bizarre. Like their regular season record like isn't bad, but like I feel like everybody talks about them like they're kind of like.
Dude,
like
if you look at the standings,
team.
it's actually wild. Like we consider Atlanta being like a top team,
right now.
and Atlanta are like 7th. Like they're on the cusp of like, oh, this is summer showdown as well.
Yeah, they're like kind of like in this. Yeah, they're like the same.
Like London at 5, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
What's
and we
going
talk
on?
about Toronto like they're down there like battling Boston for the play-in. Like I mean, this team's like pretty good, and if there is an opportunity for them, like to maybe jump into a placement in the overall season standings that like you didn't really think they could hit or whatnot, it's to make their tournament with a team like the Gladiators, right? Sitting at home, playing in Toronto. They don't have to travel anywhere, right? And get a bunch of league points from playing well at their own event. Like, if you were to think of a way, if you're the Toronto Defiant, like how do we like avoid like play in and get a guaranteed playoff spot? Like you're almost being gifted it at this point, like the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, this is definitely the crucial tournament for Toronto Defiant. So they're looking promising so far.
Great point, Johnny. Knowing that there's no tournament at the end of the next one, this is a crucial tournament.
Yeah,
great.
Well,
I like that.
Yeah. My transitions, I've really been working on them. Feels like I'm doing a great job.
When they made you the host of the show, I was a bit worried. I was like, I don't know about this.
Handing the reins to the Swedish guy? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. We'll see how that goes.
I think you've been great, Johnny.
Yeah, could be a bit of a breakout.
I'll give you a hug. I mean, I saw you like a week ago and I didn't, but if I saw you now, I'd give you a hug. I think you've been doing good.
I'll have to consider if I'll accept it or not. We'll see.
I know I just weirded everybody out by
fucking chair, man. I've had this chair for 6 months and he didn't even acknowledge it. I'm deeply upset.
Just proof that Matt doesn't watch Plat Chat.
You have like a different angle of the camera, maybe that shows more of the chair now.
The different angle of the camera.
See,
what are you cooking, dude?
Nah.
I gotta be getting trouble. That's gotta be Kurt. Is that a new chair?
No.
All right.
Sorry,
God
man.
is spoken.
I'm not gonna lie for you.
Kurt would never lie. Kurt would never lie as well.
You can make it up for me, Matt. Maybe you can like buy me dinner or something. That'd be good. Let's go eat tacos or something. That'd be good.
Don't push it down.
Tacos.
Yeah, you know that sick place we always used to go to. Yeah, let's go there again. Anyway, I mean, it was a bit for Toronto Defiant. It was a bit worrying, I think, when they went to like the third round of Map 5 against Vancouver Titans, and you're like, oh shit, Toronto sucks, and then you're like, wait, they're both good.
Wait, Vancouver.
Yeah. Wait, Vancouver's
they're coming.
But yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about the San Francisco Shock. They tied the Vancouver Titans 2019 regular season record. I don't care if you don't think the regular season record matters. I don't care if you're just like, oh, the schedule, you play the bad teams. Like, do you have any fucking idea how hard it is to be so consistent that you win 19 regular season matches in a row? You're playing some of the best teams, the best players in the world at this game that you're competing with, and you beat people 19 times in a row. Do you understand how difficult that is? So
I think one of the best parts about this record as well is that Scott basically said this record was being broken every time they won for like 4 weeks.
I definitely jumped the gun on that one. Because I was like, someone said to me, they were like, oh, they're breaking the record this weekend. So what I did is when they played the first match, I was like, the thing is, I didn't prepare that at all in my like prep because like I was like, no one's brought it up. I'm like, I'm just gonna throw this in there, and then I think
they're gonna do it.
I think they're gonna do it, guys. Yeah, you should watch this. And then I realized I was one day too early. Yeah,
it was definitely my job, by the way, as a host. It was definitely my job to know that. So
you're
take full
good. You're
responsibility
good.
of that. And also, they tied them, and then I had no idea what the next match was for who they would actually beat to win the record.
Turns out
16-0 this season, +3 from last season.
Yeah. Who is it?
It's New York. They're playing New York this week.
Yeah, New York.
Well, tough one, you know.
Does it matter? They're 16-0.
Well, they played Dallas.
Dude, what's
a week after or something like that?
Is that Dallas is a week after? Like they could end that run. Like
I just want to see New York beat them, to be honest.
I tell you
what.
I
mean, no.
Come on.
Shut up, Johnny. Shut up.
I'm about to give you a no money back guarantee right now. Let me take a look at this real quick. Don't full screen me yet, Kurt. I got Google.
You got Google. No, I would just love to see New York just like prevent them from taking the record. It would be such a fucking funny feeling.
New York thing to do ever.
And he would like take it out in advance. The entire staff of the San Francisco Shock would be on Twitter just like celebrating they're the best team ever, and then New York comes in. It's like
post a Myeonbong graphic,
Dude,
all the
imagine
usual
a
things.
vast, bro. Imagine the smugness.
It would be amazing.
New York Excelsior and Yaki just dominate the Shock, dude. That guy's gonna.
The Shock are gonna go undefeated in the regular season this year.
What?
They're gonna not drop a regular season match.
Okay, I want to see that game.
So the hard one they have is Dallas, right? Like they need to beat Dallas here, and then it can.
This is an undefeated season right here.
That would be nuts if they had an undefeated season.
I love you saying that. We have no idea about the next meta.
Matt, okay, I'm kind of siding with Matt. That's very doable. Paris, London, Atlanta, Toronto, Houston. Dude, it's actually as long as they beat that Dallas Fuel, they might do it.
This is an undefeated season right here. If they beat Dallas, you're looking at an undefeated season, and it looked like it went pretty well the first time. So, different meta completely, though. I say Dallas pretty good at this one, but I think we're gonna see a shotgun undefeated season.
No.
Matt just says shit
regular
at this point.
season.
Yeah, we have no idea what the next meta will be in the Countdown Cup. So with that in mind,
undefeated through the first 2 metas. What makes you think what's going to have to happen for the next one? You need Torbjorn Bastion to come through, like rolling up, like
past performance is not indicative of future performance. You can't just like, oh, they won the past 19, so therefore they'll win the next 8. Like
you can say it's probably somewhat like they got a good shot. I'm with Matt on that one.
You can, but you said guarantee.
Matt says that all the time. Just ignore Matt at that point.
Yeah, my guarantees are good. You take them straight to the bank. You cash those in.
All right, well, one match at a time. You got to beat the New York Excelsior first. Don't take that out in advance. We'll see. Maybe New York, they wake up feeling angry.
Don't worry, Chad. They'll beat New York.
They're motivated. They got a main support now. They're looking good. Maybe they'll do something.
I'm just surprised with how high you guys ranked New York. I was so disappointed.
What do you mean? New York, they looked good. They looked really good last week. Like I like it's a new meta. They look like they had it, and then they must have fallen to the Washington problem where they all hit their head and forgot how to play the meta.
Disappointed.
Avas is not here. Avas can't hurt us anymore with his spreads. Let's move things along. Atlanta Reign, Paris Eternal was an interesting match this past weekend, of course, because Atlanta Reign, they had looked really bad coming into this week. Paris Eternal picked up 4 new players from contenders. And I think, we all got a little bit excited about this new Paris Eternal roster and what they could possibly do. Certainly some hopium spreading out there when we were like, could they turn this franchise around this season? Those dreams died very quickly as they got 3-0'd by the Atlanta Reign. But, what are our first impressions here? Better than the last roster, or do we kind of just like, this is not good?
I want to see them
better
next week. Okay, like I don't think when Kai just does that to someone, I don't know if I can take that. Like you can't take too much away from what we saw. Like
They're playing the Gladiators.
Okay, winnable. You know,
Winnable.
fuck it. Why not?
Maybe.
You know, Gladiators, just give them one. You know, you have so many wins. Like, I don't know. Like, they didn't look good at all. We'll just say it how it is. It did not have any cohesion. All that, synergy that we were hoping for would come from contenders wasn't able to come off. Yes, they're a new team with like minimal practice, and it's their first match in the league. They're probably all going to be nervous. We give them a pass, but I don't, as I said, I predicted Paris to beat Atlanta, which, as you said, might have been a little ambitious, but I wanted to believe in these guys. And I want to see more matches before I really start like giving my opinion on these players.
If Kai is going to hit 81% of his rail shots over the course of a series, like anybody's going to look terrible against that.
It was on Gibraltar, but yeah, I think it was 69 then Thursday.
69
overall. 69, yeah.
Overall.
All right, because Mitch just kept saying nice over and over again, like I like what Paris did. Do I like the timing in which they did it? Maybe not. But I think the worst thing, like as a fan, like the thing that I think that you hate the most as a fan is just to seeing your team like just like settle. And like Paris wasn't very good. Where like you're a fan of that team, like you want to see them improve the roster, right? And improve like if the way to do it is to just bring in new players, like it's a shitty kind of a resolution to like the old roster, right? But like you want to see your team, like your team should always be trying to upgrade whenever they can, right? However they can. So to see them bring in like new players and like have some signs of life here against the Atlanta Reign, I think it was fine. At least like with the Paris Eternal now, like you have some exciting young players that like maybe give you some hope, right? And we'll see how they go for the rest of the season. Yeah, but, like I think going down the same path with like just losing over and over again with the same team, like what excitement would that bring you as like a Paris fan? Like
I mean, these guys are hungry, right? Like,
yeah, like they want it.
Like they come in. Well, now they're 0-1 as a team, right? But like they come in as 0-0, so it's like a whole fresh new feel to the team, and yeah, I'm sure that's definitely helping the backroom staff as well. It's definitely an exciting time. We're seeing so many young prospects from contenders this year. Like Wright, for example, is a really good example, and it's cool to see that tier 2 kind of system working and pushing people up. And yeah, real rough start, but at the end of the day, give it a couple of weeks, maybe they start collecting dubs here and there. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, we don't know where this team will end up at the end of the year, but it's probably better than having the same team until the very end, because they'll be
knew what that team was going to be.
Exactly. And you're also going into every week like, okay, maybe we'll get a dub this week, maybe, but they have completely fresh heads coming in. And yeah, I'm actually quite excited about the Paris roster.
Yeah, and this gives them an opportunity as well to like mess around with the roster prior to they announced that they would rebrand to Las Vegas next year. So this gives an opportunity to like play around with this North American roster now and maybe make some changes going into next year. I also think that the person who has the most pressure on himself in this team for the rest of the season is J-Mac, the coach for the Paris Eternal, because obviously like these players come in, they're talented. You saw that they were able to win contenders, and now you want to see at least some kind of improvement and this team going like the right direction, because there is the lingering kind of thought like, what if Ace was still part of this team going into this year after last season that was so successful to this team? They went 8-8 I think last year. Now you start off this way with a new coach and it's not working out, so you change up the roster. But if you can't find success with this team now, then you have to worry as well. Like, well, is J-Max maybe like, the way he coaches his team, is it maybe not right for this organization? It could be tons of different, questions to ask yourself. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if J-Mac can like improve on these players and make them play better. So I also think when it comes to the prediction of this, I think people as well, they underrated how quickly Atlanta Reign could improve. Obviously, they looked garbage in like the first couple of matches. But this is still like a really good team. And when it comes to these players on these heroes, there was sort of like no doubt in my mind they would drastically improve going into week 2. So I'm happy we saw that.
Well, what they
I want to give a pause to that because I don't know if I don't know if I completely I'm not saying like they are a great team and they have great players. I agree with you, Johnny, but you cannot use this match against the Paris Eternal to say, see, they turned it around. Like when you just have Kai having such a bonkers individual performance and you're going up against literally 4 people who it's their first time ever playing the league, you cannot say that this team has turned it around. Like I want to hold.
I'm not saying they're elite. I'm saying they're good.
Yeah, well, you're saying that like the way that I interpret is that you're saying like, hey, they're back, and I don't know if I completely agree with that just yet. I can't jump on that train just yet.
They do have Speedily coming in next week, right?
Yeah, this weekend. Yeah.
Playing London, I think. Yeah,
pretty nuts.
London and Houston this week.
I wonder how much time he's like if him and Nero have been splitting some time. Like I wonder if we're actually going to see him coming right away. Maybe that could be a little bit to like kind of the performance, Scott. I was thinking is like, like I feel like if you have a player like Speedily on your roster and you've been paying him the entire season and like he's that hyped up, you're eventually going to see him, right?
Yeah.
That like maybe they've actually started to practice a little bit with him, like where you're seeing Nero now having to play the Genji with like not as much practice time, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nero looked good in this series, but it's as you say, like Speedily, the way he's hyped up, like he's just going to slot into this.
Nero's
like,
career, by the way, has been
that's
so
going to be
bizarre.
a fucking nasty roster with Speedily in. Like no disrespect to Nero, like I think Nero played well, but like with Speedily in there next to Kai, you picked up Vigilante, play next to OG, like holy shit. Atlanta Rain could go on a massive run to end the season.
Yeah, you can't count this team out ever, right? Like.
Once money's on the line, they start to turn up.
Yeah, decide to try.
We'll see if they value a playoff spot as well, because they do have to get some actual like regular season wins to be able to like hang with London and Houston. And I actually think that seeding could come in very handy come playoff as well. I don't know exactly what the playoff format's going to be, but I can imagine having to like even getting like 3rd or 4th, being able to like pick your opponent if that's what the format we're going with again. Then that's going to be massively beneficial to Atlanta. So I don't want to see them get like 7 or that'd be a bit disappointing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see Speedily this weekend. Moving on, let's shift region and jump over to APAC. Shanghai and Seoul, they both went 2-0 this past week in the first week of APAC qualifiers. Hangzhou Spark, not as much. But let's start with Shanghai and Seoul here. I am not going to enjoy this conversation because I said that Hangzhou Spark will be the best team in APAC at this stage. They still have a chance. They've only taken losses to Shanghai and Seoul, but Seoul look fucking crisp with Stalker on the Genji and Profit on Brig, mind you. So there you go. Both teams 6-0.
Yeah. Region's tough. I mean, you look at like the standings that you just had up there, right? Like with how bad the Spark have played. You got the Dia Queen there, the Valiant, and the
Dawson Break.
With the way Seoul and Shanghai are like playing, it almost just seems like, hey, let's just get them together and play now, and just like wait to the end. They just seem so far ahead of the rest of the region.
It is a weird region because of the amount of teams, and I often think if we had at least 2 more, or maybe 3 to make it an even 10, we might have like more interesting results.
That is an earth-shattering thought there, Jack. That if there were more teams in the region, and more opportunity for different teams. Yeah, I mean,
it's true, but like I know
it's true. Yeah,
but like, dude, it is cool seeing Seoul and Shanghai pound and shit like that, and then the kind of battle for 3rd, 4th with like Spark. Their roster looks pretty decent, and then Philadelphia Fusion being Philadelphia Fusion, but it really does feel like the big test for Seoul and Dragons, apart from a couple little slip-ups here and there, do only come in like mid-season madness kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Jack.
And playoffs and shit.
I agree with you there. Like, and I also think that's like why it's really hard to like judge these 2 teams in the grand like scheme of the league, because like I think you started to see they are clearly pulling away from the other teams in their region, but we just see them play the teams in the West twice a year, right? We've seen it once, and Solden looked like great there, right? Like what what happens like to these teams? It's almost like will the lack of like these teams could actually peak higher than some of the teams in the West, but off of the fact that maybe they don't have the same level of competition to play against, they actually can't hit that peak because they can't be tested enough. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, because the added bit to that is like, who do they scrim? Who do Seoul and Shanghai scrim to really push their limits? There's each other, and then there's Philly and Spark, I suppose. And then it's like, well, there's not really many other teams that have like.
I mean, I bet they
crazy
scrim
different
some like
styles
contenders
to-
teams, right?
Yeah, they
Since
got-
everyone's playing this.
I wouldn't surprise. Yeah, like some of the top contender O2 Blast run away, sorry, when they were around still.
Might be some of their
they
best
have to.
competition to scrim.
Especially if they had
Yeah,
experience with the
Could
meta.
be, yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask this. I wrote the script, the rundown before the trade happened last night. So let me ask you this: the Seoul Dynasty, do they continue playing Prophet Brig, or was that just a result of the trade between Creative and Iris from the Houston Outlaws? Do we think that Iris is going to come into the Seoul Dynasty and make them even better?
Well, Iris wasn't even playing Brig for the Houston Outlaws. So I would assume you'd probably just leave Prophet in because like Stalker and Bits are playing great in their roles. Like, I don't think you want to mess that up. And Prophet is shown to be good at the Brig. So it's like, and it's not like you're in another meta where there's a situation where he gets caught and has to play Ana or something like that. He just needs to run it through the stage and just play the Brig. I'd be surprised to see if they make any changes. Just run it down this stage, everything's working, and then integrate Iris into the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still like a question for the coaches and stuff. Like, I think it's a very like tempting thought still. Just like how good would we be if Prophet was on actually like DPS? Even though Stalker and Fitz have played well. So
Does that trade change anything for anybody?
no, that's what's so weird. Like I
for
think
me,
it's a pretty
it seems
neutral
like-
trade.
Yeah,
So-
it's just like
Iris is the
Iris is
Seoul
so
Dynasty
safe.
won 100% in
Iris,
that
I think,
trade.
is
Yeah.
100% they
than
won in that
creative,
trade.
yeah. And like, when is creative gonna like get here if you're the Outlaws? Like, I don't know.
That's a
Like-
good question. I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that. Like,
Thank-
how long is it going to take him to arrive?
Like, is he gonna do the whole fielder thing, like playing through the middle of the night? Like,
That'd be rough.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I think
bizarre
Creative
move.
has had some. We're getting away from the conversation a bit, but I think Creative has had some nice peaks on Ana. The way I look at it, it's just like some of these players, they're so like equally or like similar in terms of skill that at the end of the day, like team environment, communication, stuff like that is going to matter so much. So yeah, while you might be able to say that like Iris is like has been the better player so far in the Overwatch League, I still could see, for example, examples where like maybe Iris he slots into Vindime and like doesn't play as well, maybe, or Creative finds a way to excel in the Houston Outlaws. So yeah, Iris is probably the better player, but as an analyst, I'm not gonna go out on a limb and just be like, Seoul Dynasty definitely won this trade. I kind of want to see it play out first before I see how.
So you don't want to analyze, you just want to see the results.
Yeah, because I think it's a pretty neutral trade. Like, yeah,
Hindsight, Henry, right?
well,
I'm
of
just
course,
like,
I can make judgments when it comes to like the best players versus good players versus bad players. But like, what I
What would
think
you
it's pretty
speculate,
understood
though?
that, like,
yeah,
in the
what would
Overwatch
you
League-
speculate, John? That's all
What
we're
would you
here. We wild
speculate?
speculation with no merit. That's Plat Chat in a
Exactly.
nutshell.
Usually when I speculate, some pro player calls me out on it, and then I have to fucking climb my way up from the trenches.
Like, I'm not saying that's the thing is, Creative's a great player. Like, he's played well for this whole dynasty. But if I had to choose, like Johnny, if you had to pick a team and you had to have a flex support and you had to choose Iris or Creative, who would you pick?
Who are you picking?
Yeah, I'd pick Iris, but that
Okay,
doesn't.
then boom, there's the
Oh
trade.
my God, yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
come on, like,
believe you
yeah,
fucking
there's
first take
obviously
me or some
there's
shit.
obviously personalities, and there is like synergy with the team. Maybe Iris wasn't happy on the Outlaws, maybe Creative wasn't happy on the Seoul Dynasty. They're both great players. I don't think either team are lost. Like in either situation, it's obviously beneficial. That's why they're doing the trade. But if I was personally wanted either of those players, I agree, Iris is the better one.
This is where it'd be so interesting to know what like their salaries were, because like
Yeah.
that could make because that
Like-
could impact like this trade. Like, what if Iris makes like twice what Creative makes, and then you're like, well, from the Houston Outlaws perspective, like I have no insight whatsoever. But this is one of those trades where I'm like, that stuff could really, shift the perspective on the trade.
I like it's impossible to really kind of gauge any type of like player, whether it's like transaction or anything, without knowing that type of stuff. Like, you like, don't even want to use players in comparison because I don't know how much any of them make, but like you view a player's performance in like sports way different based off of the amount of money they make, right? To where you're like, man, creative is a fucking sick deal. Like when you look at like some of the other like support money around the league, right? Like it just changes the entire context of the deal or signings in general. Like as you can probably tell, I'm a huge advocate of like knowing that type of stuff. Like, or I think it's definitely weird for like players, right, for it to be public. But I also think like it helps inform like team decisions and whatnot to like just the general public, right? Like, because yeah, like I mean, it's like a huge staple of like traditional sports, right? Like I get angry at half the people on the Giants because they're just overpaid and we suck.
They're
Like, and I look
bums.
at players on other teams, they're like making half as money and they're good, and I'm just like, it just tilts me. And then like, yeah, I think it would be huge for just games in general. But
Yeah,
maybe
I guess what I'm
far
just
from
trying to
that.
say is like Houston Outlaws. They're a franchise that was obviously like active in the market as well before the trade deadline. They signed Lep, they signed Doge, trying to round out the roster. They dropped Piggy, and like maybe this is just one of those trades where like, hey, we need to like dump some salary to make room for like Lep and Doge to come into this team, and we're thinking it's going to be better off. That's just kind of like. That's kind of just like how I look at the trade. If you want to tell me who the better of the two players is, yeah, sure. I'll say that Iris is the better player, and I don't think you could really make the case for the creative being the better player.
Do you think we'll see creative play for the Outlaws?
Yeah, he might not play. Like they have Lastro and Lep. There could easily be a situation in which he does not play. And I agree with you guys. It'd be great if we had salaries, because then that would give a lot more narrative and that'd give a lot more examples of like why certain teams and players are performing this well and stuff. But we don't have that. And that's sort of why I think we need to just look at this objectively. And we also can't speak to the culture differences of these teams, right? Like it was creative happy on the Seoul Dynasty. Was the team happy with creative? Is this Iris trade also relative to the Piggy dropping? Like, is there inner turmoil going on at the Houston Outlaws between the Korean and the Western players? Because we saw what happened with Piggy. We saw what Pelican said about Piggy leaving. We know that they were actively trying to trade Iris and Pelican as well. And then they signed 2 North American contenders players. Like, there's definitely something going on there that we don't understand, but it's just so hard to speak to in any form of like knowledgeable or analytical way.
Yeah. Oh well. We'll have to see what they do during the off season. Now, moving on to more hot takes. I want to hear what Custa has to say about this one, because this one could get spicy. The Hangzhou Spark, they start off the Summer Showdown qualifiers 0-2, -6 in map differential. They didn't win a single map. The Hangzhou Spark with Shy in a Sojourn meta. AlphaYi was missing. I'm not exactly sure why. I believe it was something to do with like isolation or quarantining or something like that. I honestly don't know. And considering that is like the rumor, I don't want to speculate either to like what the fuck was going on. But he didn't play, and Architect was the Genji player for this team. So Hangzhou Spark, do they suck 0-6 in maps? Or are they just missing AlphaYi and he would make a big difference?
I just was laughing because Johnny was like, he basically speculated and then said I didn't want to speculate.
Speculating would be like, oh, the man has COVID. No, I have no fucking idea. I don't know.
Now you just did.
No, that's an example.
Crazy.
Damn.
You guys fucking suck.
Johnny, let me give you some copium. It's the exact same copium that I gave you for the Gladiators. They played Seoul and Shanghai, which, we've already said it like head and shoulders. Is Spark better than those teams? Not even close. But, the bottom half, like right now, I have like 9 tier breaks between Seoul and Shanghai and everyone else. I think AlphaYi will definitely help. Architect was there in those matches and he was fine, but he definitely does not have the same level of impact that AlphaYi brings to this roster. So hopefully we get to see AlphaYi come in these matches against some of these weaker teams and we'll get a better sense of where the Spark is, but it's not all doom and gloom for the Spark just yet.
And also they played the 2 best teams, right? They played
Seoul and Shanghai.
Did I get that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said this multiple times on broadcast, but if you're the Hangzhou Spark, those are not necessarily the teams you have to beat. The teams you have to beat are like
You
the
have to beat
Valiant.
Philly.
Yeah.
Valiant. Like, you are a third, fourth team, like 100%. And if you breach higher than that, it's like exceeding expectations.
I also think as well, like where the Gladiators, right? Although they haven't won, like they haven't looked like terrible. Like, can you even if the Spark turned around here, like how much do you trust them? Like for the season, the team that's like this up and down, like it's tough. Towards the end of the season, right? Like when you're just this inconsistent, and like I think the difference is like the Spark are just like not looking. They're not even in some of these games,
Because
like
they live and die by Shy, right? Like even when we say look at their best performances from the midseason tournament, you can't look at me and be like, wow, they were a fully complete team all the way through. Like, yeah, they have their moments, but it's just Shy going fucking bonkers, right?
Yeah, I guess my
Blast
disappointment
Spotify
stems
just
from the
dumping on
fact
people
that I
with
thought that
Sojourn.
they could really excel in this meta. Because, like, you say that, and yes, they just nanoed overclocked in Shy and he hit shots. But at the same time, I mean, I said this multiple times as well. I liked the way the backline was playing in that meta to allow for that kind of system where Shy would shine. And so I thought we'd have a similar scenario on our hands where, like, Super, which would like maybe stand out a little bit this stage, and they would still have like good brawl, like a good brawl play style. Like I think Bernard this season has impressed me. I think Bernard at many times was like the secondary kind of tank off tank next to Ligue. We didn't end up seeing Ligue. I think Bernard has stood out this season. So I guess my disappointment for the Spark just comes from I thought that this would be like a breakout stage for them. I think they'd carry on the momentum, maybe get beat Seoul, beat Shanghai, and solidify themselves as like a top 2 team in APAC. So it still feels like they're third, fourth. Philly not doing too great either. But I mean, I guess they still have the stage to improve before stage playoffs. So
I mean, not having your like best Genji player is a problem too, right? Like Genji is kind of crazy in this meta, and like forcing out like generating blades so you can force out beats, and then setting up Shy too. And like, not saying that Sojourn picks aren't as valuable. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Sojourn picks right now aren't as valuable as they were in a previous meta, where like, yeah, you could just nano Shy and go in, and he's invincible because he has nano and perma pocket. Like, the initial picks are pretty important, but like a lot of it too is like getting your JunkerQueen in a position to help your Genji get resets. You can randomly snipe Briggs, but they do have a shield, right? They're way less vulnerable, because Shy before he was just fucking hitting shift and then just sniping an Ana in the back line. And like that is a little bit more difficult now, because the way the game plays, like speed and like getting your Brig and Lucio in a position as well, that's like way more defensive than like other support styles and other backlines play.
Yeah, also like Brig has a shield, Genji has deflect.
Yeah,
everyone else has a ton
there's
of
like
movement,
lots
right?
of things
like,
to kind of mitigate that impact that Shy was popping off before, right?
I also feel like how good Kai played the other day. Like Shy was doing that like every single game for like a stretch of time. For like like just like unbeatable.
I mean, he did
level of play.
unprecedented stuff in the Midseason Madness.
Yeah.
Like,
and you also
literally
can't rely on that. Like, even though he is great and he's going to do it again, he cannot do that view every match. It's just unrealistic to expect him to be able to put those level of performances up every match.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, as someone, I'm probably the only one who cares about all these vanity awards. But if you realistically want Shy to maybe become a role star as well at the end of the year, then you got to step it up and play the stage well as well. Because when you actually think about like the role star setup this year, it's pretty funny, because I assume we'll only have like 2 tank players if role star is a thing, because you obviously removed a tank, and then you have 4 damage players. So I don't know if role stars is a thing this year, but I think it's kind of fun to follow. I think it's fun to consider these players, chasing individual career awards.
But can you be a rookie of the year and a role star though, John?
Shut up! I've had enough of you. I've had enough of you. Shut up!
People too much,
Bruh.
All right, you touched on it, Joss. The Philadelphia Fusion. The fuck is going on with this team? Carpe was in the lineup a few times. People did not like it. And then the Carpe defenders came out in full force saying that, like, hey, it's still Carpe. This team, man, they were the best APAC team in the mid-season Madness bracket, beating the Hangzhou Spark. They made it the furthest. They got top 4, right? Yeah, they got top 4. and then they start off like this, going to map 5 against the Valiant with Dia, JunkerQueen, and
tough.
Sashin, Brig.
That's a tough one.
Then you lose to the Chengdu Hunters. I mean, Jesus Christ. I could not imagine being a Philadelphia Fusion fan. I would be completely in despair.
Turmoil.
I don't know. Like, Carpe defenders, I don't really understand it. Like, when was the last time Carpe had not a good match, like a good season?
A good season? When was the last time Carpe had a good season?
Yeah, when was the last time Carpe had a good season? We're gonna go hard here. Like, you have a player like MN3 who has shown the ability to play every single hit scan at the highest level. And Carpe, he is a fine hit scan, right? But should he be playing over MN3? Personally, I don't agree anymore. He was crazy in 2018. He was good in 2019. But since then, he has not put up those level of performances. So, like,
since the GOAT season, it's been tough.
Yeah,
he had some good Cassidy in 2020.
Yeah, like he has had good moments. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he still has spots, and that's why I was happy for him to play in like previous seasons. But you have MN3 now. Like, you have MN3. I think if Philly, personally, my belief, if they had just invested all their time into MN3 in this meta alongside Zest, once again, they would have better performances than what they do now, where they are trading time. Like, we all saw the stat card of Lead versus Carpe. That was not Kois in that series, and that is a problem for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Maybe Carpe just needs a change of scenery.
Change of scenery? You want to move Carpe from Philly to where?
He is Philly. He is the Fusion.
I want to see Carpe on the Dallas Fuel.
Holy fuck.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, that is...
Honestly, I'm down. Fuck it.
What do you mean down? Why do you say down?
Johnny, what do you mean? They signed fucking Pine last year. What do you want? Do you want Pine or do you want Carpe? Okay, pick one.
I'll take Carpe over Pine, I will say.
I actually think there's still some... Like, I think I agree with Scott, but I also don't think Carpe is like done. Like,
no, I agree. He's not washed, right? But is he like, my point is not that he's like, he shouldn't be in the league anymore or he's hard washed. I just don't like MN3 is probably going to be one of our future hit scan players in the league. Like, he's going to have a spot and he's going to do that. They should be prioritizing building that talent up, getting him used to your team before, he goes somewhere else.
Yeah, Carpe's he needs a team that, almost like we were talking about, like with the Justice earlier, like a team that's gonna like invest in him and let him play, right? For like since like the GOATs like kind of meta ended, like he's been like in and out of lineups and stuff. Like I think he just needs to play.
I
consistently.
This is like hurting my body.
You can't tell me that if you put Carpe on the Dallas Fuel and let him play all the time, that he couldn't at least match Edison or Gurio.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And if you couldn't tell me that surrounded by those better players, that like you could see like some vintage Carpe moments. Like Carpe Sparkle, like DPS line, if you would have been told that like 2 or 3 years ago, you would have just like your head would have exploded. Like,
I think Carpe has been spread so thin over the last few years of having to play the Tracer, having to play all these things and sort of flex around for his roster. Yeah, it's the Tavik. It's the Tavik effect of he's had to do too much. Just for you, Johnny. He's had to do too much. And like, when was the last time he's able to just really sit down and focus on his hit scan and play hit scan all the time?
The guy's got a sick combo. Like, he's got so many heroes he's super good at. He just needs to be in a situation where he can actually play all the time.
I would still play Edison over Carpe. I think Edison is getting a bit slept on.
I think he has the same problem, honestly.
Yeah.
I think he has the exact same problem. He's a good player who has been spread too thin, never been able to play his perfect role, and he's always just like molded his style and his play to a team. And that's why people sleep on Edison, is because when was the last time Edison had a good season as well, right? Like, maybe this season. Like, he had a great Reaper in the May Melee, but then he hasn't played consistently since then.
Oh boy, Carpe to the Dallas Fuel. There we go. Looking forward if they can see if they can make that happen. Oh my god, can you imagine like the Carpe jerseys in like Dallas Fuel? That shit's so cursed.
It's the most Dallas Fuel move ever as well to sign Carpe though, right?
That's pretty funny. Well, what do you do? Do you ship like Guri or someone to Philly back? What do you do? Do you trade with Edison?
Yeah, okay, honestly, give him Doha or something like that. I'd be down to see Doha on the Fusion or something like that. Fill out the roster a little bit. Then MN3
paper roll.
Why would he just be?
It's a lint roller. It's a lint roller.
It's a lint roller. Okay.
I was like, bro, I know you've been playing some WoW lately, but like you're
He's not
engaged.
that
You
poo.
can't
Come
get-
on
yeah,
now.
you can't go that hard now.
Guys, calm down. Calm down. Okay?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, lint roller. Get a new page off.
All right. You shipped Doha to the Philadelphia Fusion. I mean, oh my god.
Toilet
We-
paper roll.
People really like our power rankings episodes at the start of each season. At the end of the season, we should just do like a manifesting trade episode where we're just like we suggest trades to the other party.
That's a good idea, honestly.
That'd
We
be
just
funny as
talk a
fuck.
lot of shit. Yeah.
One dream trade you think could happen? Like,
What?
or would want just a dream trade you'd want to happen? Just like
Dream trade.
yeah.
Uh,
I would love to see Shy. No, I would love to see Shy go to like the Chengdu Hunters. I want to see Leave and Shy team up.
Oh my
I would
God, that
love
be
to see two
crazy.
go together. Like, or they could go to Hangzhou. I don't care,
Ooh.
whichever one you want. But I would love to see those two players go play together.
oh, it's a really fun topic.
I'm looking at the
Sir-
teams now and thinking of some crazy shit.
MN3 to fuel. Just a
You
fucking
just changed the
hard
Philly.
hit scam. Yeah, pretty
Split the
much.
names.
Pretty much. I'm changing it. MN3 to fuel, baby. Hard hit scam player. His Ash is just freakish.
This
Make it
trade
happen.
makes 0 sense.
Perfect.
Valletta for Kevster.
It doesn't, you're right. That doesn't make any
That's an
sense.
awful
That doesn't
trade.
make sense. That's good.
That's so bad for the
I would
Gladiators.
want to see. Wait, it's bad for who?
It's bad for the Gladiators. Kevster's amazing.
It's
like
crazy.
that.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
think Kevster and Lip would just be insane to watch.
It would be crazy. Yeah.
Kevster and Lip. Holy.
All right, what about if you put Profit and Leave on the same team and you
Dude.
just let them work it out of
That
like
That would
what
be
they're gonna
kinda
play?
nutty. You'd be in-house fighting like a boxing ring to decide who plays what.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, this is
That's
too
good
fun of a
content.
topic. We should move on. I feel like we're
Yeah,
gonna
we
get
save
stuck
it for
here
the
a
end of the
bit.
season.
Yeah,
I'll come up with something. Maybe like I don't know, skewed for Void or something. Get like Void on the LA Gladiators if we could. Yeah, we'll do
Let's take
one
a
at the
time.
end of the season. That'd be actually hilarious. Yeah, let's
That'd
do
be
that.
fantastic,
Matt,
yeah.
you're invited on because I know you're like the godfather of making up trades. So,
of course, we need views on these videos. I gotta start coming out more often.
hey
Oh,
man,
my-
we've been popping off with views. We got some good views, man. We got like almost 60K on our mid-season madness episode. You
That's
know,
true.
not
That's
every
just
day.
Kurt,
Yeah,
Kurt's putting in the work.
yeah. Kurt
And now
is
he's taking a
dominating.
vacation at Istanbul.
I don't think that's a
Hey,
vacation.
Kurt is popping off. All right.
Yeah, true.
Got a gig. I'm looking forward to see what Kurt can do. He's going
We
to
do
take
need
over
Kurt
the
Cam
esports
on
production
here.
world.
Every
Yeah,
now and
yeah,
then we
Kurt
just switch to
Cam.
Kurt
Kurt
domination.
Cam.
Anyway, let's actually return to talking about Overwatch for a bit. So we're jumping into power rankings. So we're on the topic of APAC. Let's jump into the APAC power rankings. Make some moves. Hangzhou Spark
How many tier breaks are we allowed?
going down.
I want
Unlimited.
two.
60?
tier breaks.
I want
Two?
two tier breaks between Seoul and Shanghai and everyone
Yeah.
else.
Sure, okay.
Since Custa started making his like recap on Mondays, it's essentially just like a different medium for him to insert his power rankings in.
I know because I'm essentially I can just pull my power rankings in and then just sort of fuck with yours. So
Yeah.
Or
And
you
then
could just do
Avast
the
assist.
opposite.
Alright,
Just
so
go
let's see,
fucking
hold
wacko
on.
on here and then pretend you're right. Because
Are the Valiant?
Why do you
Better.
start with Valiant? Okay, let's not start with Valiant. Shanghai
why not?
Dragons. Let's put Shanghai Dragons second, and then
Shanghai
a tier break.
Dragons.
I think Seoul goes first, right?
Really?
Really?
Shanghai tier break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double tier break.
Yeah. I was gonna try
Double?
and make
What?
an argument.
No.
Yeah, double tier break.
Double tier
What?
break.
Double
They're just that much
okay.
better, dude.
Yeah, double tier
You don't
break.
think they're that much better than the
You-
rest of APAC? You gotta be on some fine crack.
What is Can you make an argument that Valiant are better than the Charge?
No.
What?
You not seen the dear JunkerQueen? That's shit.
Yeah, but they just
Yeah, but I think-
lost on map 5 to who? They lost two map 5s to like two
They
bad
literally
teams.
just played.
Yeah,
And
that's.
Guangzhou won.
Yeah, Guangzhou
fine
won,
then.
right? Yeah.
That's fine.
I
Still
know.
can't
I
love
just
them.
want to try and make an argument with my Valiant to get out of the bottom. I'm
No,
trying. What about,
yeah.
can the Valiant be ahead of the Guangzhou Charge based off of a cooler color combination?
That's just objectively
Matt,
wrong.
okay, fucking stop it. Do you guys want to put Hangzhou third and then move Philly down to fifth?
Hangzhou third.
Hangzou third.
Wait,
Hangzhou
hold on. They don't
third.
win a map and they move up? How is that
Yep.
possible?
Yeah, but Philly got 3-0'd by Chengdu.
Wait, what did I do with my power rankings?
Jake,
no,
they're going to come online soon.
Actually,
Chengdu,
yeah,
they
I'm
lost
happy
to
with
Philly
Hangzhou
3-0.
third.
You know?
Hangzhou, Philly, Hunters, Charge Valiant.
No, I think Chengdu above.
They're a
Philly.
Alright.
tier break after the fusion and with the 3 on the bottom.
Guys, let me sell you on something real quick here, okay?
Your power rankings. Oh, that's very convincing.
You guys ready for this?
What?
Guangzhou fourth, okay? Because hear me out. Krong's
Yeah.
looking like he's back. Jimmy fucks.
Wrong. You want Guangzhou?
Yeah,
Fuck you.
Guangzhou at 4,
No,
baby. Come
I won't
on,
allow
bring
it.
it home.
I won't allow it.
No.
Yeah, like who you want to put a fourth? Like who else?
Jimmy does kind of fuck though, but no, it's not happening. Philly,
Yeah, you want to
fourth.
put Philly? Philly look like they're lost. They don't even know what the meta is.
You look like you're lost.
No, what are you? Fuck
You
off.
are lost,
rather put
bro.
Chengdu
Wait,
at
I
fourth.
need to check your power rankings right now to make
I
sure you're
can't
not
know.
doing some flash shit.
see
I can't
Philly
tell if
get
Jack's
fucking
agreeing or
rolled
disagreeing
by
with
Chengdu?
Scott.
Did you watch
I'm
that game?
disagreeing.
Chengdu fucking put Philly in the ground. How are you going to put Philly that high if they just got rolled by Chengdu?
Yeah, put
and they
Chengdu
went
at
to
fourth.
5 with Valiant.
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah, the
Chengdu
Spark
fourth.
have been kind of dog, right?
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, now we're
Pandas.
talking.
The
Yeah, no,
panda
that's it.
one's
Kurt.
hurt.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
The Panda one, no. Chengdu 4th, Philly 5.
No, you,
Guangzhou,
how are you putting?
That looks good.
6.
How are you putting the? How are you
No.
doing this? There's no way.
Why
think
are
that
you
looks
so
good.
upset, Custa? Why are you upset? Speak your mind.
Because how would you say Philly is better than Charge? What? Give me your reasoning from this weekend's matches why you think Philly is better than
No,
Charge.
I could put Guangzhou.
Because they're just
over
better.
Philly.
Because
Yeah, you guys want to put
Because
Guangzhou
they're
over Philly?
just better.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Dude,
So
I
both
went
of
back-
these teams beat Valiant in map 5. So right, so Guangzhou and that. Philly got bopped by the Chengdu Hunters. Guangzhou got bopped by the Shanghai Dragons. One of those is not like the other right there.
A carpet's
Okay,
coming online.
carpet.
Dude, this is a recency bias. Do you not see MN3 on that Ash clip on?
Yeah,
New
if
Queen
he
Street?
plays ever, Jack.
Yeah, do you know? But when he does, though, thoughts?
God, I went back and I watched the clip where Scott asked what I've contributed to Canada, and I just looked at him straight in the eyes and I said confidence, and I just died. Oh, that was such a funny moment.
Is this fine?
I like this. Yeah, this is fine.
I'm not
Yeah.
happy about Chengdu at 4, but I'll.
What do you mean
I'm not really happy about
They got
anything.
beaten so fucking bad on
Also-
Dorado. They set a league record for being bad.
That is crazy.
Chengdu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Can
If
we
you wanna
move
rank
the
them
tier
third
break?
because of their
I-
Ilios, then sure, but that was one map.
Can
Why
we
the hell
move the
you putting
tier
the
break?
tier
I think the bottom 5 is just no, I think we just get rid of it. This tier break. I think the bottom 5 is chaos.
All right. Sure.
Bottom 5 is
You
a
want to
ladder.
do this?
Yeah,
I think that's
this is
reasonable.
cool. Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
Guangzhou did beat Valiant in a 5-map series.
I just yelled my way to putting my own power rankings in our power rankings.
I don't like that. This is not Custa's power
Sorry.
rankings. I suggest we put Chengdu at 4th just to change it up. So it's
Yeah,
everybody.
that's fair. I
thought
agree.
the
I
Valiant-
don't
thought we
like
could
having
win the
that much
Valiant.
power.
They're trending. They're
Matt,
trending
shut the
up.
fuck up about your Valiant.
Trending. They're trending on where?
They're going up.
Okay.
Honestly, anything could happen. I actually don't know who's better in the bottom
coin
5.
toss.
Dude,
Yeah.
they have
toss.
Dia on JunkerQueen and Sashin on Brig.
I like it.
That's good.
They just
You've not
lost
seen-
to Charge
seen the
and
Dia
Philly. Who do they
JunkerQueen?
play this weekend? They the Valiant are playing against Seoul Dynasty and the Hangzhou Spark this weekend. Are you confident in the match?
1 and
Oh,
1.
that's rough.
1 and 1.
1 and
Oh.
1. Put it down.
All right, we have it with this. This looks good in my opinion. I
Yeah.
like this. This is good.
Yeah,
Your
sure.
original Plat Chat power rankings, not brought to you by Costa.
Yeah, look,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
not going to agree on these rankings.
Perfect.
And,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
it's really a clown fiesta in that
If
region.
Scott
so
is
we'll
just
see.
going to try and bully us, we're all too nice to people and we'll just concede.
All right, let's move on to the North American power rankings. This is going to be,
Yeah, this
I
is
mean,
going to be
way more
good.
interesting. This is going to get fucking spicy because the good the teams that were good, some of them are now bad, and some of the bad teams are now good. I have no idea what these are.
I kind of want to see what our rankings looked like last week when we
Oh my
finished.
God.
I forgot what they looked like.
Well, we don't have Washington and Paris in there, I think.
yeah,
But they're just crazy. And then New York Excelsior is, of course, going to be above the Gladiators, which in hindsight is right. But they're just different placement, I suppose. Gladiators 5. That kind of aged like milk.
Right. Here's what needs to happen.
Okay.
I think you need to move the Defiant to 3rd. And then I think you need to move the Titans 4th.
No. Okay, you're forgetting about London.
Let me stop you right there.
Hold on. And then I think London needs to be 5th. And then wait, we got to bring who do we got to bring back? We got to bring the Justice back. They're not even here. I was like, wait, hold on. No, not there, Kurt. No. That's the Justice don't go there. I would still put the Gladiators 6th. Actually, no, put Atlanta 6th.
Here's what I think you do. I think you finish this ranking, Matt. I think you finish this power ranking to your satisfaction, and then people can print screen it and say this is Matt's power ranking.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with it.
But wrap this up.
They're gonna tweet me, and I'm just gonna mute them. I think I would put the Outlaws in 8th. Scott's face is just. Hold on, go back. Actually, put New York in 8th and the Outlaws in 9th.
No, absolutely not.
Let him finish.
I think this
might be a crime.
I think this looks good.
This is it. This is the Matt's power ranking.
It's fine. Yeah.
This is Matt's official power ranking after week 2 of Summer Showdown. There you go.
What's wrong with this?
Dude, where's Boston at, bro? 11?
How did Washington end it at 12th? How did this happen? They didn't. Who did they beat? They beat someone this way. They just beat Florida Mayhem. How do you have them below the Florida Mayhem?
Well, I just think in the totality of everything happening, that this win may not be super impactful.
Okay,
all right. Let's dig in. Let's dig in and see what we can do here.
What is really wrong about it, though?
Top 3 is fine.
I think I got the top. I think I got the top 5 right. I think I got the top 5 right.
No,
Vancouver at 4. Let's start there. Those Vancouver Titans, should they be 4th?
Okay, here's the question I want to pose to everyone. If the Gladiators played the Vancouver Titans, would you guys predict the Vancouver Titans?
I would predict the Glads.
Yes,
still.
Exactly.
You don't have to ask me. Western
Wait,
Canada
Gladiators against
back.
Vancouver.
Yeah, would you predict Vancouver over the Gladiators?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would still predict Glads. That
Like-
seems
like if
too
that match happened
far-fetched,
today-
bro.
If the match happened today, I probably would.
No. I don't think that's
I just
possible.
want to remind you guys that the 3 of the 4 losses that the Gladiators had are to the people that we have in the top 3 right now.
Okay,
And the
so this is
Titans-
can I
too much recency
Titans
bias.
went to 5 with the Defiant.
suggest my brain rot analysis for this match right here? Okay.
Yes, of course.
No substance whatsoever. Purely speculation, guessing.
Yep.
The most unprofessional thing I could do. The LA Gladiators, they have essentially like nothing to play for these next 2 matches. They probably can't make the Summer Showdown. Like very unlikely. They've already won 2 stages. They're pretty much already set in stone to qualify for the playoffs. I could see them just like playing around and like maybe like not take these upcoming matches so seriously. Like, hey guys, maybe we'll like reduce the amount of scrim blocks we have going in this stage. Maybe we'll like rest up for the Countdown Cup and then like be ready for playoffs. Just like how Dallas Fuel and Shanghai did last year to some degree. Just like, hey guys, don't worry too much about this stage. We'll get mentally ready for next one. Vancouver Titans, they're on a fucking rampage. They are fighting for the Western Canada.
So Johnny, who were the last 2 teams that they beat? The Vancouver Titans beat. Just curious.
The last 2 teams that the Vancouver Titans beat.
That everyone's so high on them for.
August 14th.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Paris Eternal and
they beat Paris Eternal.
The New York Excelsior.
Paris Eternal. And
so we're saying the Vancouver Titans that beat the New York Excelsior and the Paris Eternal are on a rampage.
You said New York looked pretty good.
Yeah, last 2 weeks ago, not this weekend. That was travesty.
Yeah, so things don't changed.
So look, okay, here's what I usually default. When it comes to the Preds, here's where I usually default.
At the Titans are like 6th. Like
What?
6th or 7th. Yeah. I think people are massively overrating how strong they are right now because they won 2 matches against teams that we are about to put in the bottom 2, bottom 3. and we are just over. And then we look at the Gladiators in the complete opposite respect of they just lost to some of the best teams that we have in this league and Houston Outlaws when they had Pelican and Merit going.
So you would put
crazy.
the Gladiators 4th.
I would put the Gladiators 4th or 5th. Yes, I had London above Gladiators in my power rankings. I had Toronto 3,
London at 4th.
London 4. Yeah.
Ooh, what?
I think London look great in this meta right now.
What if we put like?
I think
Atlanta,
London look way. I think London look like a more like. I think it could go either way if like with your like Londons and Vancouvers.
So London lost to Florida Mayhem, beat Boston Uprising 3-0, and the Houston Outlaws 3-0 after Houston Outlaws lost Piggy. Houston did not look good in that match. So
yeah, I'm too high on London. I could see that actually. Another.
So then you would default to Gladiators 4.
That's just a
no. I think I would have Gladiators, London and Vancouver all in the same tier, but I don't think I would put the Gladiators at the top of that list.
I don't think so. I think
it's hard. I
judge
still
off
wouldn't fight against him.
I judge
Even
what
if
I'm
it-
seeing today, and I don't know if the Gladiators right now, the Gladiators Titans right now, that match may go to 5. Like that would be like a really close series, I think. Like if you play that today.
Everyone, this entire stage, everyone is just like, oh, the Gladiators are so bad. If that's how we want to do power rankings and we just want to put all the teams
bad.
as their schedule is and like just like Gladiators are 1-4 and disregard the people that they played against and how close those matches are.
Is saying they're the 6th best team saying they're bad right now.
No, people talk about the Gladiators. Like people think the Gladiators. I think people are just like hard.
If you said the Gladiators are 6th right now, is that bad?
No, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like, and but what I'm saying is like, how are you putting the Vancouver Titans above them? Like, what about that? Like, yes, the Titans look much improved. They look to be solid in this meta, but better than the Gladiators.
They went to 5 with a team that you think is top 3, right? With Defiant. And then they beat the piss out of 2 other teams. One team, obviously not very good, but the other team you thought was good, right? I mean, everybody thought. I mean, I didn't, but everybody.
Yeah, but New York played really bad.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, I think people are like hard.
Do you see New York bouncing back?
No, not really. Like New York. I think are just like more bottom to the table and thing. I think they had one good week, and I think they massively overperformed that week. And I think we got a little too high because of this meta and the fact that everything is shaking up. I think we over exaggerated, and that inherently has allowed the Vancouver Titans to get more or higher up on our rankings because we thought New York was going to be good, but then they weren't, and then Vancouver beat them. Like, Vancouver aren't a bad team. They're good. I just think people are just forgetting how much talent is on this Gladiators roster and how good their players are. Like, Kevster, Happy, Reiner, Funny Astro Skewed. Yeah, they've had 4 losses against some really fucking good teams, but they've been very, very close matches. Like, they should have won Dorado. You cannot tell me Gladiators shouldn't have won Dorado against Defiant. Right?
No, like they looked really good. That was a really competitive series. I need to ask, who came into your Twitch chat yesterday? You sound like you're taking this like very personally, like someone's really been grinding your gears.
I have YouTube chat over here, and people are like, people are freaking out about this stuff.
Big mistake.
Well, no, it's not really like I don't really care about what think, but this has also been the narrative in my stream chat. People just think that the Gladiators are like the 10th worst team in the West right now because they're all in.
Those people are stupid. Just don't look at that.
Yeah, but I'm fighting for the narrative.
Do you think so? The Gladiators, they play Paris. What do you think will happen there?
They're going to beat Paris 100%.
And then they play the Atlanta Reign. What do you think happens there?
I think they beat Atlanta Reign right now as well. Like, I think, as I said, I think Gladiators are like 4th or 5th. I think if they made the tournament because they didn't have a stupidly hard schedule for the people that they played against, like, I think they would make the tournament. They would probably do fine.
Stupidly hard schedule, and they're like playing well.
And but Toronto's played really well. They're better than the Gladiators. Look at our power rankings, right? Like, I'm not arguing that Toronto aren't better. Like, those teams aren't better. What I'm saying is Vancouver. People want to just put Vancouver after 2 wins against bottom tier teams. People want to put Vancouver at the top.
I would commit to the meme pred of predicting Vancouver Titans.
If that's what you guys want to do, I've said my part.
What if we came to an agreement? What if we came to an agreement and the Gladiators, Titans, and London are all tied for 4th?
That's not how power rankings work, Matt. You would put them in the same tier.
Yeah, no, they're all 4th. Yep, just like that.
What the fuck are we doing?
No, absolutely not.
That is heinous. Number comes after that.
That's hideous.
The Reign are 7.
That's awful.
and this is up for debate.
Uh,
Yeah, like that.
No, I obviously agree with you. I obviously agree with you, Custa. And I'm pretty sure I said that repeatedly on the broadcast as well. That
I
the
somewhat
Gladiators
agree
still
with-
look good in this meta, but
I somewhat agree with you, Scott, but I can't see London being above the Gladiators.
I can't
Okay.
see London being above Gladiators. I really do think that the Houston Outlaws
I
looked
think-
very poor in that match. I don't
think
want to
there's
take
an
read into it.
argument for the Titans. Like, as stupid as that sounds, I think there's more of a valid argument for the Titans than London almost. Because Houston was just like, I mean, it looked like they were starting the talent team out there. I mean, they was just not they were just not in that series. I mean, they were just not there. Like, and I don't expect Houston to be that bad. Like, that's like probably the worst the team's played in like franchise history. Like, that's just not gonna happen again. But
Yeah, I think that's almost like a bigger question. Is like, how good is the Houston Outlaws really?
There's no
Because
shot
they got
they're
reverse
better
swept by
for it.
New York Excelsior. They beat Gladiators in 5, and then you lose 3-0 to the London Spitfire after this whole like Piggy Pelican debacle.
Feels
thing.
like
And
a
they just,
booming. If it very
They
much
look
feels like a
pretty
booming. I wouldn't put them any higher than what, like eighth.
if the Gladiators
maybe.
win that series against the Outlaws, we may not even be having this discussion because they're probably going to finish 3-3 and they'll make the tournament or whatever, right?
I mean, it was
Yeah.
not like Houston convincingly won that 5. It was essentially Merit popping
No.
up and having a clutch play. That's separated. That was the single Merit play was the difference between those two teams. So yeah, if you think like, oh, Gladiators, they actually, they would be 1-3.
Merit and Pelican played like crazy in that series.
They
Like,
were
ridiculous. Like, you can't. It goes back to the idea of like when we talked about Spark in the midseason madness of like that wasn't the Spark becoming a new team and all of a sudden they're breaking into the top end. That was just crazy individual performances that pulled them over the edge. Especially with the retooling of the Houston Outlaws, like. And just how poor they look this weekend. I don't think you can look at that match and use that as a determining factor for how good the Outlaws are right now.
So using that argument, then let me ask you this, and maybe we can figure out the rest of the teams. So, given that and Vancouver Titans looking really good with Aspire in the mix, would you say that you rate like London Spitfire's team coordination? I mean, obviously, you do based on your power ranking, but like London Spitfire's team coordination in this meta over Vancouver Titans and Aspire on Sojourn?
I think they have a great understanding for the meta. I think Hardy's a good JunkerQueen. I like the way that they're integrating the May. I just think London Spitfire hasn't really shown us a reason to not expect them to play well. And like, I think they're the only consistent team, and maybe that's why I'm high on them, because at least I know what to expect when I watch a London game compared
London
to all these
also
other teams.
lost to Boston. That was the first match, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, his
they
first
improved a lot
match.
since then,
They
so.
played like Rush, and they played like a bunch of really weird stuff. Like I wasn't sold on that. Like I think
Who is
they fucked up.
Dallas? Dallas has played. Who they played this far? They played Toronto
Boston.
and the Glads.
Yeah.
Can you make an argument Toronto should be second, even with a loss?
No, whoa,
Yeah,
I
no.
don't think
Dallas
so.
look
Not
like
the way Dallas are
crazy.
playing
Who asked?
right now.
Yeah, well, no.
But-
If you want to move them into the top 3 tier, I could be convinced.
But I think like you look right. Toronto's beaten what? They've beaten the Glads and they've beaten the Reign, 2 pretty good teams, right? The Fuel, they've beaten the Gladiators, the Defiant, and the Uprising, right? Yeah, and New York, like not really super inspiring. Like the New York and the Boston wins are like not inspiring. They beat Toronto, that's a 3-1 series. And then
That wasn't super close. That 3-1 makes it look closer than it was. Dallas kind of gave them that map. Like that,
And then
Dallas were a much better team in that series.
and then they what? They beat the Gladiators in 5, right?
I could be convinced if you want to put Toronto in top 3. Like I'm if other people agree with it.
Yeah, the
Johnny?
tier break. Yeah,
No,
100%.
I don't
thought-
think.
I
no,
thought
don't-
the tier break was there anyway. Why is it not?
Well, I thought it was like originally like this.
Well, because
No.
what?
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because
below Toronto. It's a tier break below Toronto, 100%.
So you think
I mean,
Toronto
Dallas-
on the same level? as these
100%.
teams?
I don't think
Dallas
that's
goes-
fair.
Dallas goes to game 5 with the Gladiators, and Toronto beats them in 4, and Spawn kills them on 1. And then their other win is against the Reign, and then they beat the Titans in 5. Like, I think quality of opponents, you can make an argument that the Defiant to play tougher opponents than Dallas.
Yeah, but it's not just about looking at their records and then point and saying that. Like, it's about watching the teams actually play. And Dallas looks
It's comparing
very,
Hanbin to Hotspot, for example.
Yeah, like Hanbin is crazy good on that thing. Sparkle's been playing much better in the Genji. He plays a more like passive role. He doesn't play as aggressive.
I think to get those quality wins, you have to be playing at a very, very high level. Where like to beat New York and Boston, I think for Dallas, like.
I definitely understand where Matt's coming from. I think that, honestly, the tier break should go
right
there.
Like, and maybe that's fine, right?
Yeah.
I think the level of play Toronto is showing right now, they definitely deserve to be in like a tier.
Because I expected Toronto, like coming in this tournament, I was like, man, it is looking slow for Toronto. I was like, they are gonna get. I was like, I didn't think this was gonna be good for them at all, right? But if they beat Boston and London and finish this stage, what, like one loss, right? That's wild. Because you looked at the schedule and you were like, Atlanta, Dallas, Gladiators. You're like, man, that is 0-3 all over it. And if they somehow come out of that like 2-1 and then win the other ones, fucking crazy.
All right. So it sounds like you guys are united with the top 3 and then the tier break. Then we get into the weird question of like keeping Gladiators at number 4.
I would have put London above
I'm
Gladiators.
kind of almost buying London over Gladiators.
Yeah, I'm also.
I think so. I think London over Gladiators just because they are 0-4. Like, but
Which sounds weird, but
I'd
like
move Vancouver down.
You would put the Gladiators who haven't won a game over the Titans.
Don't make me rant again. Like, I gave you all the reasonings, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he's not wrong. The quality of opponents there, which we were talking about just a second ago, like
Jack and Johnny beat tiebreak. Yeah, like Jack, are you on me? Do you want to put Vancouver above Gladiators?
Yeah, we need you guys to have opinions. This can't just be me and Scott just arguing.
Well, you've been incessantly babbling, rambling.
I mean, I really do think it's a toss-up because I'm like, how I'm approaching the LA Gladiators is like Reiner has not been like a super impressive JunkerQueen, obviously like a staple pillar of this meta. The backline, Funny skewed, hasn't really worked out. But then I'm like, does my disappointment of the LA Gladiators and my expectation of those players, are they still better than like some of the players on the Vancouver Titans overperforming? So
tit for tat, the fucking Glads are better than Vancouver, and Vancouver have had easier opponents to beat.
Yeah.
Yes, they got the first win. I think a lot of it's like a little bit recency.
But I would predict the Vancouver Titans because of the meme.
I think for the meme, sure. Yeah, I'm down for that. But
and also the momentum piece, but
yeah, momentum. I think is quite a big thing. I'm a firm believer in the momentum. But
I like genuinely, I could totally see the case where like the Gladiators going to the next 2 matches. Who are they playing? They're playing. The Gladiators are playing Paris and Atlanta. I mean, yeah, they're going to beat at Paris, but like I don't think. Well, maybe LA Gladiators Atlanta is like a grudge match.
If they struggle against a fucking Paris, bro, yeah, sure.
That Atlanta match could be sick though. Like if you have Speedily in for Atlanta and like Kai's playing as well, Kai happy, that could be a sick game.
It could be a sick game. I'm just saying, I'm not expecting the most out of the LA Gladiators the rest of this stage because I don't see the point.
Okay.
But I'm pretty happy with the rankings as they are.
I would like to propose some more people into this tier.
Okay.
I would like to put Atlanta and Washington in this tier.
Washington. You want to go all the way down to 12?
I'm on board. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Wait, Washington's going that way?
Well,
did you watch them play the game? Washington looked really good.
Florida were pretty ass.
Florida were ass. I'm not countering that point, but like I think they deserve to be in this tier. And then almost you can inherently do that because I think this meta is so variable and we're so few games into it that it's hard to really gauge because, we've had good teams playing against bad teams and then bad teams playing against good teams and it's sort of gone around as things. I could almost put Houston in the same tier and just make this like a very questionable tier of like, we don't know what to expect. Because, as much as I'm harsh on Houston and I don't love what they're doing as a team, they do have the Pelican and Merit effect in the same way that Washington Justice have like the decay effect, right?
Okay, may I suggest this then? Okay, tier break under Vancouver Titans, and then the weird tier is Atlanta, Houston, and then Washington 9.
I almost feel like Atlanta,
because Atlanta needs to prove themselves more.
I think Atlanta's good enough to be in the tier with the Gladiators and the Spitfire. And
I think Washington, Atlanta, and Houston all could compete with all of these other teams.
I think there's a tier break after Atlanta, and then the Justice, Outlaws, and Uprising.
But this is you going back to Atlanta beat the new Paris team. 3-0.
Yeah,
That's
like
everything
we're
they've
giving
done.
Atlanta
And
way too many
you're-
props.
Then you're also relying on the Kai popped off argument.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Oh,
agree
what,
with
the
Johnny.
Justice
Actually,
the Justice just played Florida. That's it, right?
The Justice just played Florida, yeah. And then
Hey,
what? They beat like Boston or something? Who did they beat?
I agree with Johnny. We put the tier break above Atlanta Reign, and then
Paris.
that tier can be the talent is their tier, where it's like they have really good players, but we
True.
just haven't seen it yet.
Talent's
I
there.
will say this. I think Atlanta Reign is like the kind of in the unknown tier because they beat Paris Eternal. But I actually really believe in their team for the rest of the stage. Like it would not surprise me if Atlanta Reign they end this stage looking really good. I think Hawk on the JunkerQueen is like actually one of the better JunkerQueens in the entire league. Yeah. And it was just like a factor of like the team not being great, Ultraviolet getting picked, all of that stuff.
If Kai plays like that, speedily comes in and does and fucks like we expect him to
yeah.
fuck, and then they have
next
Vigilante.
week they could be like top 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they could easily turn this around, and I feel like they obviously had a tragic first weekend, but they looked good against Paris. But that's you got to take that with a grain of salt.
All right. So
Where does New York go?
7, 8, 9.
These teams are all pretty tragic. I'm happy with 7, 8, 9. Jack, are you happy with 7, 8, 9?
Do I want to swap Houston, Washington?
Yeah.
I could be convinced.
Yeah.
No, you dare fucking swap Houston, Washington. Jesus Christ. No, that's better.
Okay.
That is better. Just
Okay.
Are we being
I
too
didn't-
harsh on Houston?
Maybe
That's
I
what
am.
I'm wondering.
Maybe I am.
They did
They
get
got reverse swept by New York.
rolled
They lost in map 5 to Gladiators, and they got 3-0'd by London recently.
They looked so bad against London.
They
Though.
looked
Like
so
that
bad.
game was
Did not
like
look
tragic.
good, bro.
They looked
They
tragic.
did not look good. Boston up, bro. Boston, move Boston.
Washington
Are we
just
doing
opposite
this
of honeymoon
bit? Are we
phase.
doing this
I don't know
bit?
what
Wait,
that
what's
is.
just saying
above
Boston?
Mayhem.
Boston
Mayhem.
did just get booty
Fate.
bopped by Dallas and Shock. So maybe I'm just like maybe
dude.
my recent memory of Boston is just them getting beat down. But yeah.
Well, they're gonna get beaten down, but like they've looked better with Mag than fucking. No,
I don't agree with that.
God damn it! No, they look fucking better than Mayhem right now. Not with Mag.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've been looking better with Mag. Not like just no. I think right now, Punk's still very good.
All
but
right.
this is
All
good.
right. I got one for you. Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
Number 10, New York
No.
Excelsior.
That's crack.
No.
That's crack. No.
Why
No.
not? Why not?
No,
Why
that's
not?
bad.
They just
Why
got embarrassed by the Vancouver Titans. Like
It's not happening.
Who are good?
who are fine. Let's not say that they're really good. They're fine. Like all of these.
Boston and Florida have looked so poor this meta, and New
Yeah.
York have actually like.
No,
they had
Boston
that
haven't
match
looked that
against
poor.
Dallas.
What Jack just said. Jack just said
They
that.
played the Fuel and the Shock. Like you can't fucking win those.
London also embarrassed Boston Uprising in their first week, but so the only win you're really going off, Jack, though, for Boston Uprising is they beat Atlanta in the first
Reign.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fucking good.
That was a bad
And,
one.
like,
Come on.
placing like sure,
That was bad Atlanta.
but like Boston right now 10th, and they beat Atlanta Reign. Yeah, okay. I think this is more than fine for Boston Uprising. If you put fucking Mayhem above them, I think that's. Sick.
I agree with Jack. I think Boston has to stay at 10. I think
Yes.
we just have negative perceptions of this team because they
Yes.
just looked tragic against Dallas and San Francisco Shock.
In general, the DPS like Valentine has looked pretty good on the Genji considering their
Yeah.
opponents.
I mean, I don't know.
You know,
I
every
don't
time
know
I
if
feel like
it's-
every time I leave the power ranking segment each week, I feel like maybe I didn't stand my ground too much, and I just let you guys.
Keep
Hey,
standing
Johnny,
your ground,
Give
Johnny.
me
Stand your ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rocks.
Yeah, what do you get? Throw some stones at us, you know? Cool.
Yeah.
Throw some stones at
Yeah,
us.
revert to
Like I'm
primal
a
like
fucking-
Homo sapien and throw some fucking shit at us, Johnny. Come on.
Like
man.
I'm
Come
some
on.
peasant just like throwing stones at like the royal or some shit.
Sit there and weep about it. Say something.
Yeah, what do you want to fight for, Johnny? What do you hate about our rankings right now?
I don't think New York Excelsior should be 12th. I genuinely think that they started off this stage on the right foot. And yes, they got booted up by the Vancouver Titans, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. You're at Boston Uprising with the V brothers integrating Mag into that team. Like I'm just like Boston just doesn't get me excited. Like they don't. There's nothing about Boston that like gets me going really.
Oh, you
It's just-
Valentine?
Like New York Excelsior, I could see them
Really?
pop
I
off.
like
Like I could see them
Valentine.
pop off. I'm like,
Unbelievable.
yeah, you got Flora, you got Yaki, you got main support now. You've been looking pretty
The
decent.
team, I would say, Johnny,
They
to your
also had to
point,
take a beating from
they-
Dallas Fuel. They took a map and
Yes, it was
They
control.
reverse swept the Houston Outlaws.
Look, the team
There's
looks
something to
exciting.
that. Boston
I
looked good,
will
they looked
agree.
good with Punk.
They look exciting as a team, and I'm the excitement factor for me is the same. Like NYXL here and then Boston here, but like the results speak otherwise right now.
No, this is just fucking sympathy points. You're just like, oh, you had
Why
to
is
play
this
the best
sympathy?
teams. Oh, I'm
How is
sorry,
that
Boston.
sympathy?
You had to play the San Francisco
Explain
Shock
to
and the
me
Dallas
how
Fuel.
that is sympathy.
Oh, poor Boston.
When you have to
You got
play
Josh angry.
the fucking Fuel and the
Yup.
Shock, an undefeated Shock. Johnny, did you want? Is this some fucking heart back from Rogue Apex Season 2, bro? Did
What
you
the
need
fuck are you
sympathy as
talking
well?
about? How is
Oh,
this
damn,
even-
he
how is
pulled
this
it out.
even-
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
You want some fucking
Okay.
sympathy points as well, Johnny?
Yeah, now we're digging deep. All
I-
right, here we
I
go.
think this is
Stones are being
ridiculous.
thrown.
Yeah. Hit him
Yeah, it's
back,
my hate
Johnny.
for
Hit
mineral.
him back.
It's my hate for mineral. It's coming
Hate
back
for
to life.
Mineral. You heard it here first. Clip it and ship
I'm actually
it.
good friends with Mineral. We chat from time to time, so it's nothing against Mineral. No, I just okay. What are the upcoming matches? Let's play the prediction game, shall we? New York are
Notice,
playing
whenever
Shock.
I
Wait,
look at the
fuck.
upcoming matches,
They lose that one.
See, you done goofed. See, Johnny, when I do that and I bring up the matches, I look at the matches before I say let's look at the matches. You can't just be like, let's look at the matches on a whim and get fucking owned.
Yeah, I mean both teams are kind of screwed because Boston is playing Toronto, Vancouver,
Yeah.
and New
I think
York is playing
Vancouver
Shock,
is-
Paris.
To be fair, that
Shock-
Toronto Vancouver
New York
game
is
might
going to get another win.
Dude.
They're going to get another win against Paris, hopefully. Crossing fingers to justify my.
Yeah, what a prediction! They're gonna hopefully get a win.
Yeah, I realized that Paris picked up a new roster. Yeah,
Wow.
who knows actually. That would be devastating if Yaki lost to the Paris Eternal coming in. The new.
Those games might be good though.
Yeah, it might be a good game. I don't know. I'm not gonna stand my ground. I'll wait for another day. New
I mean,
York
that
under
was
Florida,
this
though.
time.
That was
Florida
so
doesn't even know what
strength.
to support
That
the
was
field.
so
Okay? I
weak.
demand a Florida
That
New
was
York
so
swap. That's
weak.
all I ask. That's all I ask for. And then
I
I'm
will
not
accept
gonna
a Florida New York swap. You know,
Okay.
they don't know if they want to
okay,
play
yeah,
XE or
yeah.
Hydron. They don't know
I'll
if
take
they
that.
want to play Animal.
Are
and
you guys
Bren.
swapping this because you feel bad for Johnny or you believe it? Because Johnny was
No,
just like, man, I tried to
no,
stand my ground,
I
I
believe
didn't,
this.
and everybody was like, oh shit, let's like give him something.
We gotta give him something. Yeah.
Fucking
No,
not.
I
with you on
genuinely
that one,
agree with that. I
New
genuinely agree
York
with that.
over
Come on.
Mayhem, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you,
I
Johnny,
can't,
because I
as a
think you're a
host,
good
I can no longer
person.
go on these like long rants. Like I gotta save my breath to like swap segments and shit. I can't utilize these dead minutes to just like come up with some dumb shit rant. So I'm a changed man, guys. Leave me alone. I'm trying.
I miss the old Johnny, the ranting
The old
Johnny.
Johnny,
I like this Johnny.
the
way
rascal
better.
rant,
A
Johnny.
40-minute power ranking.
This Johnny, I like this Johnny. He's straight to the point. He's moving. I like that Johnny.
Talking about moving on, let's take a
He's
look at
agile.
last week's predictions. That's it for the power rankings, of course. This time around, we don't really have the fancy graphic that just says like how we did last week and stuff like that. We're all obviously really busy. Kurt is going away for a bit, but I have the scores last week. So I've asked last week 2 and 4, 2 and 4 out of
Terrible.
6 spreads.
Not the
Yeah.
best.
Useless.
Not the best.
Joss
Yeah.
3 and 3 last week. 50%.
Let's go.
Mr.
Fist
Consistent.
bump.
It hurts me that Joss was better than Avast.
Why?
and Custa.
What's wrong with that?
Go on. Me and
That's
Custa
it.
1 and 5 last week.
Holy.
Why would you pull me out like
1
that?
and
I was
5.
like, man, I went 4 and 2. I was hyping myself up.
Actually,
I was
wrong.
ready for it.
Me and Costa went 1 and 5 in creds last
Why
week.
did you give us this information after we let Scott do the fucking power rankings? Mr. fucking 1 and 5. Then let's listen to Scott for these power rankings.
Oh,
I think it's interesting
I'm
character
popping off.
development.
I'm popping off.
Yeah, the entire community, they're just like, Costa's convincing. He's a consistent streamer. I love his content.
Yeah.
And then there's like 1 and 5
Oh,
predictions.
shit.
Here's the thing: you
5.
just don't tell them when you're wrong, Johnny. You only tell them when you're right. You know, you fuck up.
predictions.
So some guy is listening to the Plat Chat pod in the car on the highway or something, like hearing 1 and 5 and having like an existential crisis in the whole day. It's just sorry. I had to do it. It's good story. Good character development. Well, we're looking to change that around, Custa. We're looking to redeem ourselves this week, okay?
That means
I want to precursor
Good
this.
luck.
I did this like 10 minutes before the show, and I had a couple ones where I'm like, fuck it, this team. So we'll see where I ended up because I don't remember it all.
Yup. I think
Already with excuses.
I have permanently ruined the members of the desk by my 1 day appearance on the desk. I think I've actually just altered Danny and Scott and maybe Johnny forever in a potentially negative way, and I apologize.
All right, we're just having fun. We're just having fun. Let's kick things off. We got the Hangzhou Spark taking on the Chengdu Hunters. Oh boy.
Oh,
That's
that's actually ridiculous.
This is kind of crazy.
Hangzhou Spark.
Let's go, Sean.
Is anyone-
AlphaYi's back.
Is AlphaYi back? Do we know
Who
if
the
he's
fuck
back?
knows?
Maybe.
I have no clue.
Maybe he's back. I'm hoping he's back.
I'm banking on it.
Yeah,
So
I
no
think
one's
we're
high
all-
on Chengdu.
No, they don't look. They don't.
So you're
I'm not
Philly?
in love with what they're doing. Yeah, but I don't know. It didn't look. It felt like
I don't
Philly
know.
was
That's the
shit in
quote
the
from
bed.
Custa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
hard.
got to restore their reputation. win by
APAC is
win.
chaos.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
biggest chaos.
That's
Well,
kind of
okay.
chaos.
Well, this next match is going to be a lot more boring then, because it's the Hangzhou Spark against LA Valiant. And if some motherfucker predicts the Valiant this time around,
Yeah.
Oh my
How
God.
does that even make sense?
Yes.
Right.
Let's fucking go.
Matt and Jones with the Valiant.
You see fucking Deer on the JunkerQueen? You ain't seen
I
nothing
saw them
like
lose
the Deer
twice.
JunkerQueen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Let's go.
You
You see
also
that
have
knife
to-
pull into the well, though?
You have to think of these predictions in the context of APAC. None of APAC makes any sense. So this is perfectly aligning with what's been going on in the region all season.
Matt, what do you
I-
think about Sashi and Brig?
I think it's fantastic. Probably top 5. Probably top,
Sicko,
well,
man.
Val says it's Yaki's top 3 flex sport. Probably, yeah, probably top 3 flex DPS assassin. Yeah, he's up there. Look, APAC, none of this shit makes any sense. This is a prime opportunity, especially we're only picking the Spark if you think AlphaYi is coming back, right? Where if he's not there, this is way more of a toss-up.
That is true.
And who knows? Maybe AlphaYi plays in the first game, but not in the second game. Maybe he plays against the Hunters, but not against the Valiant.
That is a theory. Wow. Why would that be?
You never know.
You never know.
Never know with APAC.
Wow.
Like I wouldn't listen to you guys. You guys were 1-5 last week. So
Yeah, that's true. Me and
I
Custa
was
were
3 and
1-5.
3.
Yeah.
I was 3 and 3.
Okay. Next one on the board.
it's Custa
Philadelphia
crying
Fusion.
again.
Against the Guangzhou Charge.
Did anyone pick Guangzhou?
Yes!
Jimmy! Let's
You
go!
talk shit about our crazy APAC prediction and then
Dude,
come through.
Philly looks tragic, man. Jimmy's
They're
about to
bringing
take
in
an
a
enormous
three.
poo
Boom,
on
boom,
Carpe. Jimmy's about to send Carpe into retirement right now. I'm calling it now.
I come through with this sneaky Guangzhou charge at the last minute.
Bro, Guangzhou could bring back fucking Rio and they'd still bop the Philadelphia Fusion, all right?
Oh my
Maybe if Atlanta starts playing speedily, they can trade Nero back to Guangzhou, and then he can
Yo,
get there to play.
Dude, what do you mean? Choice of One's been popping off. You know, Choice of One's gonna be good. I actually unironically believe in the charge. It might be the Jimmy copium flowing through my veins these days, which I don't even know how this happened because literally I started supporting Jimmy because I was flaming him in a game where he just
Doing a
trolled.
toilet roll on your hands while you're doing
No,
it.
I'm just playing with something.
All right.
Crack tape.
Yeah, Philadelphia looked awful. I'm totally on board. Guangzhou Charge.
Redemption game.
I've been
Carpe
waiting all
redemption
season
game.
to be high on them.
Yeah,
Carpe redemption game, I think.
Carpe redemption game.
yeah,
I think Drew's coming
guaranteed.
in. He's gonna fuck. Don't worry.
Matt's still living in like 2018, 2019. It's crazy.
I've just been
Living from
woken
his
up
peaks.
from slumber and I've just been asked to do predictions.
Wait, Froggy's not on Philly anymore?
Can't wait to see Boombox pop off for the
Boombox
Philadelphia Fusion.
Roadhog.
I miss Boombox, man.
So,
Sad. Next up, we're moving over to the Western regions. We got the Atlanta Reign taking on the Little Spitfire.
This is a big one.
Oh.
Yo.
And Custa is the
Wow.
only one with London. The rest of us go Atlanta.
you guys are just sold on the Atlanta train of like they beat
Speedy.
Paris. Yeah, I actually think this one's going to be a banger. It's probably going to be one of the best
It will
matches
be.
of the weekend. I just, as I said, London has. I know what to expect out of London. I've been burnt by the rain too many times.
I think there's some kind of consistency with me hyping teams and players up, because they haven't disappointed me yet.
Also,
Like-
has London lost to the rain ever this season?
Oh.
That's a good question.
Good question. Let me
You
look.
shouldn't have just said it like that. You should have just made it up like how you made up.
Oh
The
yeah,
shots
no,
on the video. You should just be
they have
they've never lost them all time.
London beat Atlanta 3-2 in the kickoff clash, and then they beat them 3-1 in the midseason madness in the brackets.
Yeah, they've not lost.
They've not lost.
This is where
Atlanta,
the story flips around. This is where London Spitfire, they get into this match, they're cocky. They're just like, oh, Atlanta Rain is our bitch, and then Atlanta Rain's like, no.
No.
I don't
You
really
guys,
see it
the
like
bitches.
that.
We got Speedly in the lineup now. We look good.
I just see
they
Atlanta
got
being
fucking
good.
Vigilante in there. They got Speedly. They got Kai. I can't predict them. I think Hawk is great. I'm sorry.
Tough. It's going to be a
sorry.
good game. Like this will be a map
Oh my
5
God,
for
that was
sure.
too funny. What do we got next? I can't
All right.
wait to see some of these more predictions.
Washington Justice against the Vancouver Titans.
Yup.
Who's on the crack? Let's have a look.
It's coming.
Costa, the only one to pred Washington Justice.
Yeah, you're crazy, bro.
Costa might go like 0-6 this week.
I could go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very doable.
Yeah, you easily could find yourself.
I could definitely go 0-6.
Why did you
in this
predict
round.
Washington over Vancouver?
I think Washington looked really good in their match. Obviously, it was against the Florida Mayhem, but I like everything about it just sort of gave me confidence. Assassin looks good on the Genji. We know Decay fucks. I think that they have a lot of weight off of their team because the expectations are gone of like, that constant weight of everyone sort of like having these expectations for the Justice is gone. And I think they just played with confidence and I think they look way more comfortable. So I think it's going to be good. And I also think Vancouver, they are a solid team. And I could see Vancouver winning this match. But I think people are massively overrating how good Vancouver has been after beating Paris and New York Excelsior.
Y'all gotta stop sleeping on Vancouver.
See, you did this wrong, Scott. This is the problem. You don't pred to get it right. You pred for clout. Like, that's the thing. You only pred for clout. And that's what we've done. Me, Matt, and Johnny, clout through the fucking roof.
You know what I do, Jaws?
That's how I'm 3 and 3.
Each week I go to the Owl Pick'ems, right? And I
Mm.
have so many different accounts, and I pred every possible outcome, and then I only tweet the screenshot that's 100% correct.
Oh, that's very smart from you.
smart,
Actually.
yeah.
It's pretty
That
time
is very
consuming.
smart from you. But it works out.
Worth it though.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you get more engagement, right? If you always tweet the one that has like 1 or 2 matches wrong, and then you get mad at the people. for
No,
saying
all
you're
I do
bad.
is just I get more engagement by just keep tweeting August 14th over and over again.
People love that shit. Is it August 14th yet? No. Just do that every day
October
of the year.
9th, the new August 14th.
October 9th. We'll be waiting. Next up, our 6th match is going to be the Vancouver Titans against the Houston Outlaws.
What did people predict?
Oh God, what did I actually think I fucked up?
I forgot what I predicted.
Oh no,
for this
we're
one.
good. Part of me
Okay,
thought I
we're good.
predicted for the Houston Outlaws in this one.
Who?
No.
Another. Yeah, the Titans are just marching their way up.
Can this be a Plat Chat guarantee?
Yeah, let's make it a
Can this
guarantee.
can this be a
Yeah.
guarantee? Yeah.
That's how
That's
Oh
a good
my
one.
Oh God, guaranteed.
I like the Titans. It started out, look, when I mentioned August 14th, did I predict them to win anywhere after August 14th? No. I thought it would just be an August 14th special. But I've been proven wrong. This team's turned it around. And Aspire fucking owns.
Let me
Like, we talk so much about
yeah.
all these other players. Aspire's fucking sick.
let me turn this around. How is anyone not rooting for Vancouver Titans to pop the fuck off
Scott
the
is
stage?
in. Scott is in.
No, I want them to be good,
He
but I
hates
just
the
you gotta. We can't just be like, oh, they beat 2 bad teams. Woo, they're back, baby. Like just
Why not? Let us
Why
have
not?
fun.
Yeah, why
Let
Well,
us
not?
have
I am
fun,
letting you
Scott.
guys have fun. You know, just think you're stupid.
Don't ruin the fun. Are you a fun
Fun
police
stuff.
officer?
I am the fun police officer, man. I'm here for you.
We're trying
On
to
FBI.
aid
Hello,
Costa's
it's me.
case here for Esports Awards Analyst of the Year. We're trying to make a case for him. He can be the objective analyst guy.
Yeah, let me put 1 and 5 on
Dude,
my
no
resume real
Overwatch is winning
quick.
that, bro. Come on.
It'll
now.
just be
Come
it'll
on
just
now.
be like his like montage going. It'll just be him getting predictions wrong. It'll just be like
Yeah.
1 and
it'll just
5.
be him,
And
yeah,
Scott
analyst of
is
the
1
year,
and
1 and
5, yeah.
just big X's over his spread. Just- and then just
they
him
need
dressed
that
that that costume that you guys did with AlphaYi. You guys dressed as animals. So it'll just be
Oh,
that.
yeah.
and just a bunch of wrong
With her
predictions.
kicking me in a onesie.
We usually have 6
Terrible.
matches, but I added a 7th one because it's
Yep.
actually a pretty fun match. So we've added one more. It's the Houston Outlaws against the Atlanta Rain. And Custa's going Houston. Alone again. Custa's that alone. What the fuck, man?
Hey, you're roasting us. It looks like you just like put a blindfold on and just threw darts at the teams on the board for this. Like,
this is a bit
why.
sussy.
Why would they beat? Why would the Outlaws beat the Reign after you argued for the Reign to be higher than the Outlaws?
This can't
How
be
many
right.
of those Washington beers did you have? How many of those fucking beers?
This can't be right. One second, let me get
I
into my
just double
predictions.
checked
here.
it. It's right. It's right.
Yeah. Let me-
Plain cut.
I feel like this is going to be Pelican and Merit's time.
Oh, this guy.
Oh,
Something irrelevant to that. I got nothing. I honestly have nothing. This is I threw this one away. But I would like
go on Twitter that much that you got to predict them all the time.
if this doesn't work, then I would like to say this was an accident. If it does work, I'm a fucking genius. Let's just wrap those things together. So yeah, I feel good about this one.
There's nothing you can feel possibly good about with this one. Did you take Atlanta in the match against London?
No, I did London.
You have Atlanta going 0-2.
So you're betting on Atlanta playing poorly all weekend.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. No, it's fine. I feel good about this.
Pretty, bad.
With adding Speedily and Vigilante, you have them going 0-2 this week.
Wow, I can't wait to see the recap of the press
You have
next week.
Jimmy leading the Guangzhou charge to like APAC dominance. Like, what the hell is going on with your brain?
Dude, this meta's been a lot. I'm having a good time. Honestly, when I go 6-0 this week, I'm gonna look like a fucking genius.
The part of this meta that's like crazy is that the higher skill teams, I think, pull ahead even further away from like the middle to bottom of the pack. But in the middle of the bottom of the pack, it just pulls those teams closer together. So it's literally just a fucking whoever can play good Overwatch for 30 minutes. Like, win.
Can we get a Plat Chat guarantee on this one?
What?
We're not guaranteed. That is a oh my god.
Doesn't even make any sense.
I guarantee I am right.
What are we getting? Somebody is one of these two teams is gonna
I'm
win.
guaranteeing that you guys are idiots, okay? And it's
Wow.
perfect with where you guys
Wow.
I think there's a much higher chance that you are the idiot.
are.
Us.
It is going to be a good meme if Custa gets that one right, though.
And we
Thumbs
do
up and everything.
also. We need to do these predictions before power rankings because however people predict during this should definitely have say in terms of their influence over the power rankings.
Agreed.
No,
Yeah, the
never
best one
really.
is doing the power rankings wrong and then predicting against them.
Yeah.
That's one system maneuver. All right, that's our 7
Arguing for
matches we
people to be
predicted.
higher up and then picking against them.
Yeah.
like right away.
Like Custa just did with ranking Houston under Atlanta. Anyway, Brent's Player of the Week to wrap up the show this week around. What candidates do we have? I might just fucking give it to Custa for being an absolute chat.
Don't give it to me.
I thought I don't know. Prince Player of the Week.
Give it to Aaron Keller, bro.
True.
Oh yeah,
Aaron
that's sweet.
Keller
Big
with
true.
sick communication and overlook on the Overwatch League and say, hey, maybe JunkerQueen a little too good. Maybe JunkerQueen a little
But I
bit
love
too
as
good. So
well
maybe
is how,
we'll
like,
change that.
People were like, when Aaron first had his Twitter, I think people were like, "There's no way this is Aaron Keller." Like that he's just out here on Twitter, and he's like, "No, yeah, this is me. What's up?
This
Look at
is
this."
me.
Boom.
It's getting verified. But yeah, give it to Aaron Keller, man.
Yeah, you gotta get him
Mad
verified.
props on the comms.
All right,
Cool
Aaron Keller.
endorsement.
Aaron Keller is the Brent's Player of the Week. Woo! There we go. For tweeting that JunkerQueen's gonna get nerfed out of stage 4.
And just communication via Twitter.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a savage landscape out there, especially in esports Twitter. Brave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. All right, that's Plat Chat Overwatch, episode 140. Thank you for joining us, man.
We've done 140 episodes.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
That's
the
crazy.
Valorant is like 104 or something.
Really?
Really? How many
Yeah.
fucking Valorant episodes you guys have?
104.
Fuck.
I told you.
104.
No, but
Yeah,
like,
but like a week. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't. Like, did we start
How
the
the hell is
Valorant
that caught
podcast when
up
we
so
had like
quick?
32 Overwatch episodes? Something? I don't know.
Yeah.
We started the Valorant one when it was in like beta, right, Kurt? I think we were doing episodes when it was in like it wasn't even
okay.
out.
Yeah, you were in the first episode, Matt.
Yeah.
Both of you guys
Oh,
were. You
whoa.
and Johnny.
Yeah, we were on the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
It
on
was
the first
called
like 10 or something.
Clutcher Kick, which
What's
is the
up?
worst name ever. I'm glad
Hey,
we
I
changed
came
it.
up with that. Okay,
Yeah, it was-
don't do
Yeah,
that
yeah,
to me.
it
All right.
I'm sorry, Johnny.
Okay. That's why we removed Johnny as the head of branding. That's why we just
Yeah.
branded everything.
Now
Plat
you're
Chat
the head
and
of
stuff.
branding.
Yep. Yeah. I'm doing a great job. I'm here once every few months. I'm recognizing stuff like Johnny's new chair. I didn't burn it out, Kurt. Don't you worry. I miss doing this. You guys are fun. You're right too, Joe.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
You next week.
You're talking to Mr. Green.
I've had way too much Matt interaction in the last like 2 weeks. Like, it's been way too much.
It's not healthy. The amount of human interaction we've had.
Get us out of
I
here, Johnny.
might go get some sun after this. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, send us out of here, Kurt. We're out. We'll see you next week. One for
Bye,
one.
everybody.